And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Martins versus Seitz. Step forward, please.
24-year-old engineer Jeremy Martins is suing his ex-fiancée, 23-year-old orthodontic assistant Keely Seitz, for the cost of a car lease. Keely is countersuing for the money she put into the vehicle.
Mr. Martins, according to what I've read, you and the defendant were either engaged to be married or boyfriend and girlfriend back in the year 2000.
Yes.
Were you engaged?
For a short amount of time, we were engaged.
And during that brief period of time, you decided to lease a car for her, and she didn't have sufficient credit, so the lease was in your name.
That's correct.
But it was clear the arrangement was that this was her car, and she would be making the payments on the lease. Is that right, Ms. Seitz?
Your Honor, we did lease the car together, and he told me on several occasions that I had terrible credit, but to come to find out that I have not.
Don't get into your spin yet. Let's just stay with the facts, the basic facts. The car was leased in his name, but was for your use, and you agreed to make the payments. Is that correct?
My name was also on the car, too.
Fine. And you broke up when?
The summer of 2001.
And you were the one who drove the car from September of 2000 to August of 2001. And when you broke up, you took the car.
That's correct.
And when you left, you started your life anew. So what happened, Ms. Seitz? You had the car, and then you returned it to him at some point.
Yes, I did.
When did you return the car to him?
In November of 2002.
You didn't need it anymore?
I asked him on countless times if he would please sign the vehicle over to me, and he's kept on telling me that I had bad credit and that it was too much paperwork and things like that.
Just a second. In November of 2002, how much time did you have left on the lease?
I think about another 2 years.
But you decided to buy another car.
Correct.
What month did you buy another car?
In December of 2002.
So, Mr. Martins, you got stuck with the car and turn-in fees, etc., and you feel as if she should be responsible for that.
That's correct.
And what were those fees?
To end the lease early, it cost $3,746.95.
How come you're only suing for $1,800?
In the state of Kansas, $1,800 is the max you could ask for.
I see. And Ms. Seitz, you are counterclaiming because you say you used your car as a down payment back in the year 2000 for this lease.
Correct.
And since he turned the car in, you should get your down payment back. Is that right?
Correct.
Don't bet the farm on that. That comes under the category of chutzpah, which means a lot of nerve. You drove this car for 3 years. What makes you think you're entitled to anything?
Well, Your Honor, I honestly asked him on several occasions if he would sign over the vehicle to me so it'd be just in my name, and he would not.
Let me ask you this question, Ms. Seitz. When you asked him just to sign the vehicle over to you, had you made arrangements with the financing and the lending institution to take his name off the loan?
He said that he was going to look into that.
No. You look into it. You're driving the car. Why should he look into anything? There's a difference between taking his name off the car and giving it to you and still being responsible for the underlying loan. Do you understand the difference?
Yes.
Sure you do. So let's not be foolish here, because I'm not stupid, and I wouldn't expect you to think that I think that you're stupid. So giving you ownership of the car and him still having the liability would make him an idiot. You're not an idiot, are you?
No, ma'am.
Of course not. So why would he do such a thing? If you make arrangements to lease the car yourself and to have him released from any obligation to the lending institution, fine. But you just wanted him to turn it over to you? Ridiculous.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why do you think you should get anything back and not owe him a substantial amount of money?
Because I feel I put down the car, which was $6,000, and I faithfully made payments to him for 2 years.
You made payments for the car. He took the money so that he wouldn't get stuck, so that at some point you couldn't say, well, I made the payment, and then the company says you didn't make the payment, so you made the payment to him. He wrote out his check to the company. He didn't make any money off this deal. It cost him $4,000 for you to have a car. You think that's fair? Do you think that's fair? Because you wanted a new car. You managed to get a new car. You said, I got this old lease, and I'm going to be the only person in creation who's going to be able to walk away from a 5-year lease. Listen, You're not entitled to anything back from him. He is entitled to the $1,800, which is the maximum allowed in his jurisdiction, which is all he's suing for of $1,800. It cost him $4,000 because you wanted a new car. If you had kept the lease for the next 2 years, like you agreed to, he wouldn't have had a $4,000 expenditure. That was your agreement. You were going to keep the car and make the payments. You just wanted a new car. Period. It doesn't mean you can walk away from your obligations just because he was nice enough to put his name on the form. Get real. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,800. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I'm happy it went well. I'm glad to get some money back from all the pain I've had to forego.
We've been dealing with this for the past almost 3 years, so now it's finally over.
She stuck me with the car with no notice.
I'm just really glad that this is all over with and now he can finally leave me alone.
You need to learn to trust people.
Can't trust men.
Homemaker Shelley Schmitz is suing Secretary Janelle Arneson for the cost of glasses, a CD, and pain and suffering. Shelley claims Janelle's child, 12-year-old Chelsea Mora, assaulted her daughter, 12-year-old Kayla.
Order. Come to order. All rise. Now, this is case number 320 on the calendar in the matter of Schmitz versus Arneson. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Young ladies, have seats, please.
No, I think, Bird, we're going to have the two young ladies up and the mothers sitting down because the mothers really weren't involved in this. So I really have to speak to the girls. So why don't you two sit down? Tell me your first name.
Kayla.
And your first name?
Chelsea.
All right, let me just briefly summarize what this case is about. You two young ladies used to be good friends, is that right?
Yes.
And Kayla, you say that you lent a CD to Chelsea. She returned the CD scratched. And when your mother tried to get her mother to pay for the CD, there was all kinds of bad talking back and forth. And then you say Chelsea hit you, beat you up, broke your glasses, and your mother is suing Chelsea's mother to pay for the CD, pay for the glasses, and for a little bit of pain and suffering because you were really frightened. And Chelsea says that she was just defending herself, that she didn't start up with you, you really started up with her. That's what I gather from the papers, although girls didn't write out this complaint and answer. They're written by your mothers who really weren't there, who were only getting the stories from you. So since I am the truth machine, I will decide, and I will ask the questions because you know I will ask much more piercing questions than your parents asked you. Feet together. All right, Kayla. When did you lend the CD to Chelsea?
September something, the beginning of September.
Sometime in September. And when it was returned to you, it was damaged so that you couldn't listen to it?
Yes.
So what did you do?
My mom asked me if I wanted to call Chelsea, and I had said yes. I called her, and Chelsea answered. She started getting in an argument because I had asked her if she would either replace it or pay me back so I could buy a new one.
Okay. You remember that conversation, Chelsea?
Yes.
Well, tell me about it.
She said, will you replace the CD because it was scratched in the glasses?
And you said what?
I said no because I didn't scratch it.
Well, who scratched it?
Hey, my friend.
Your friend who?
Haley.
Where was the CD when it was scratched? In your house?
No.
Where was it?
Haley's house.
So then you lent the CD to Haley?
Yes.
With Kayla's permission.
Just
Yes.
a second. Tell me about how you came to lend the CD to Haley.
I went over to Haley's house and she liked the CD. She said, can I borrow it? And I said, I have to ask Kayla. And then when Kayla was there, she said yes, and then I handed it over to Haley.
Did she ever ask you if she
No,
could lend the
ma'am.
CD to Haley?
No, ma'am.
No, she didn't. I don't believe that story that you just told me. See, that's number one. You only get a chance to lie once to me. Do you understand?
Yes.
Good. So, you had the CD, it was in your custody, it was damaged because either you damaged it or you lent it to somebody else, they damaged it, it's your responsibility, you take care of it, you buy her a new CD. Now let me hear about the assault and the glasses.
Well, we were at our volleyball game, and Chelsea started by hitting and kicking the volleyballs out of my hand, and she would call me the B word, and I'd go to my bus stop and I'd go to get on the bus, and Chelsea would have all her friends come up to say that Chelsea was going to punk me, and I didn't know what punk meant.
Okay, just a second. So she's been bothering you. I want you to tell me what happened the day your glasses got broken.
Okay. We got off the bus. Chelsea started walking.
You were on the bus together?
Yes, we got off the bus. Chelsea's bus stop is still a block ahead of mine. We got off the bus and Chelsea started following me. I got to the end of the crosswalk and Chelsea pushed me down to the ground. I got up, I started running to my friend Lynn's house on the corner. She wasn't home, so I went to go get out of the doorway and Chelsea punched me in my stomach. I fall to the floor and I got up. That's when I start running and Chelsea punched me again because I turned around to the side and she punched me in my side. That's when I was at to the end of the driveway and gravel came up and hit me in my face and I had scratches all over my lenses and my lens was all bent.
All right, now Chelsea, I want you to tell me your version of those events. You were on the bus together.
Yeah, we was on the bus together. We got off.
Look at me.
We got off at the same street together.
Now, is that the street you always get off at?
Yes.
Is that where your house is?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And I wasn't following her, actually. I was going over to Tanisha's house, and I did not punch her in the stomach.
Just tell me what you did do, not what you didn't do.
And
look at me.
when we went into this house, I pushed her.
Why did you push her?
Because she kept on saying, you're going to replace the CD and replace the glasses and stuff.
No, you hadn't touched her glasses yet. Her glasses weren't hurt yet. You're following her, and you said you pushed her.
Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you again, why did you push her?
Because she kept on saying, you're going to replace the CD and stuff.
So she's saying to you, you're going to replace the CD. So you pushed her. And what happened when you pushed her?
She pushed me back, and then we kept on pushing each other, and then she fell on this couch. And
How did she fall on a couch?
because she knocked on this lady's door, and
She knocked on a lady's door.
yes,
Now, in order to get to this lady's door, Chelsea, did she have to walk up a driveway?
no,
Did she have to walk up a porch?
yes,
Had you ever been in that house before?
no,
Did you know who lived there?
no.
So she went up and knocked on the lady's door. Go ahead. What did you do?
She told me to come in there, so I went in there.
Who told you to come in?
Kayla.
Did that happen?
No, ma'am.
Of course not. Of course it didn't happen.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Unless you take control of this not fully cooked 12-year-old, you are going to suffer, but so is she. And when you say to me, I believe my daughter, I say, you are hopeless.
And later today,
Your answer is so ludicrous that I wonder whether you told your parents you were coming today, whether they tried to discourage you. This is the youth of America. I want you to listen to this. This is not going to take long.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 12-year-old Kayla Schmitz says former friend, 12-year-old Chelsea Mora, assaulted her, breaking her glasses. Chelsea says Kayla started it.
You push her. She pushes you. She falls down. Then she goes into some person's house to get away from you. You follow her. Now let's hear the rest.
No, she told the old lady that lived there that she was going to call her mom. She wanted me to come in there to talk to her mom. So I went in there, and she pushed me, and then I pushed her back, and she fell on the couch.
Oh, go ahead.
Chelsea had came in the house because I don't know why, but I went to go call my mom, and Chelsea came in.
Did you know the lady whose house that was?
No, I didn't. I just started knocking on people's doors because I didn't want to get hit no more, but I went into this lady's house. She had let me in. I went to go pick up the phone. She had Chelsea and April coming in her front door. They were coming in.
You mean she was with somebody else?
Yes, April. Miss Jackson, that was the lady's name. Miss Jackson had April and Chelsea come in. Chelsea pushed me. I hung up the phone. I pushed her back. Chelsea pushed me. I fell into the corner of
Where
Miss
was
Jackson's
April
car.
during all this time?
Just watching her.
You didn't tell me about April.
April got off the bus stop with me.
You're going to have your hands full with her. Do you understand? I've been in this business a very long time. And if she managed to put this over on you so that you actually believe this story that she's telling, then you are creating more of a monster than she already is. We understand each other?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Let me see the glasses, please. How much was the CD?
About 20 bucks.
How much is it going to cost you to replace the glasses?
I've already replaced them. It
How
was
much were they?
$136.
Are you both still at the same school?
No.
You changed schools?
She did.
Why do you think she changed schools?
Because she moved.
Did it have anything to do with her?
Yes.
No. Did it?
Yes, ma'am.
Now you can step up. You too. When did you move?
October 15th.
Is it because of this incident?
Yes, it was. This continued for a couple of weeks.
You mean after this? After
Yes.
this. Tell me about the continuation. Were you a witness to the continuation of any of it?
Only Kayla coming home every day saying that Chelsea had all of her friends threatening to beat her up, and we called the school counselor. He was unable to get a hold of Chelsea's mom because she was in jail. So,
What were you in jail for?
I wasn't in jail that time, Your Honor.
Where were you?
However, I was out of town, and when Kayla decided to spend the night with Chelsea, and I said that they could not spend
Listen
the night.
to me. Who was supervising your daughter?
My other daughter,
How old is she?
19.
Your Honor?
And I never let my children spend the night if their parents not going to be there.
Listen to me very carefully. Your daughter is heading down the wrong path.
I believe my daughter, Your Honor.
She's a liar.
I believe my daughter, Your Honor.
She's a liar. She's a bully. A liar and a bully. And if she is being unsupervised at your home, I'm telling you, you're going to visit her one day in jail. I'm telling you that. And I've had a lot more experiences with kids like that than you have. Because I sat in a court where I saw brats like that 200
I'm sorry,
times a
Your Honor.
month. 200 times a month. She's pulling the wool over your eyes, madam. She's a bully.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. 12-year-old Kayla Schmitz says former friend, 12-year-old Chelsea Mora, assaulted her, breaking her glasses. Chelsea says Kayla started it.
She's a bully and a liar.
I'm sorry, Your Honor, I do not believe that.
Well, then it's very unfortunate. Then you're going to have to believe that you are a co-conspirator, and whatever happens to her, you, as a parent, are
Your
going to
Honor,
deserve
this mother
that.
called me 10 times a day. I did not call her at once. And I kept hanging up on her. She kept saying, you will pay, you will pay. I kept hanging
What
up.
has that have to do with what your
She
daughter
harassed
just did?
us.
What does that have to do with what your daughter did? It has nothing to do with that. Maybe she overreacted when she just should have said, listen, she scratched the CD, big deal. That happens. Kids, that happens with kids.
That's
I don't-
exactly what I said
Fine.
to the mother. I
Fine.
said, let
That's
them
what
work
you
it out.
said. They can't work it out unless your daughter has money. She's calling you as a parent and saying, I want you as a mother to do the responsible thing. She had my daughter's CD. She returned it so that it's not usable, and we would like her to replace it. And you said, let the girls work it out.
Exactly.
Wrong.
Your Honor,
Let me explain something to you. Let me explain something to you, why I look at him, so you'll understand. Bird thinks that I am sometimes too verbally harsh, right? And we had a discussion about that. And I'm going to tell you something. It's not true. Because sometimes the only thing that people like you understand is very clear, monosyllabic words like liar, cheat, sometimes two words, bully, jail, juvenile hall. Sometimes maybe that's all you understand. But certainly your daughter caused, because of your lack of supervision of what she was doing, a whole family to uproot themselves, to change schools. We're not talking about just broken glasses and a broken CD. We're talking about her being a mean-spirited bully, and you're sanctioning it. And I'm telling you, you are going to suffer for it as a parent. But more than that, you're fully cooked. You go to jail, you're out of town, a 19-year-old is supervising a 12-year-old, you think that that's okay, but she's not fully cooked yet. And unless you take control of this not fully cooked 12-year-old, you are going to suffer, but so is she. And when you say to me, I believe my daughter, I say, you are hopeless. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount requested, $1,000, and that includes your moving costs. Goodbye.
Items are excused. You may step out.
They asked me if I wanted to file assault charges, and I said no, I just wanted to keep her safe.
Other mother knew that my 19-year-old was watching the girls, so if she chose that it was unsupervised, she knew what was going on.
The whole family's going to end up in jail.
Chelsea's a very good child.
Make your friends wisely.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Chandler versus Chapman. Step forward, please.
Teacher James Chandler is suing the ex-wife of his girlfriend's son, 21-year-old collections agent Trista Chapman, for wrecking his car. James says Trista took the car off-road and broke the axle.
Mr. Chandler, the defendant was driving your car and wrecked it.
That's correct, ma'am.
And you want her to pay for it.
Absolutely.
You didn't give her permission to drive your car.
That's correct.
How do you know her?
She is my girlfriend's son's ex-wife.
Girlfriend's son's ex-wife.
At the time they were estranged.
Now, I'm going to make a guess that the son's name is Brian.
Correct.
Because she says she had Brian's permission to drive the car. So you tell me how that came about and why you don't think you're responsible for the damage to the car.
I had asked Brian to use the car to go to a doctor's appointment.
Were you separated from Brian at the time?
Yes.
So you called Brian. And who was Brian living with?
His mother.
And the plaintiff?
Yes. I had asked him to use a car to go to a doctor's appointment. He had told me, let me call you back. Let me call my mother and ask her if it's okay. He called her, called me back.
No, you don't know what he said to his mother.
No, I don't know what was said.
But he called you back and said what?
Yes, it is okay for you to use the vehicle.
Fine.
He came, he picked me up. I dropped him back off at home. And from there, I went to my doctor's appointment.
Where was your doctor's appointment?
In Apple Valley.
Did you go alone?
Yes.
So you drove alone in the car?
Yes.
Both going there and coming home?
And when I went back, I picked up my friend to give me a ride from Brian's house to back home to where I live.
So after you finished with the doctor's appointment, you picked up a friend, and the friend was supposed to do what?
She was following me over to Brian's house to pick me up from there and take me to my home. Because
so you're driving a car, and your friend is driving in another car?
Yes.
So you're always alone in the car?
No, I had a friend with me in the car.
What friend did you have with you in the car? And where did you get her from?
She was the friend that was coming with me. When I went to pick up the car.
Pick up what car?
When I went to pick up the car from Jim's house,
just a minute. First, this is Jim.
Yes.
I thought Brian came and picked you up.
He picked me up from my home to get the car. But this was after the doctor's appointment when I went to go to my friend's house for her boyfriend, because she doesn't have a driver's license for her boyfriend.
Now we're getting someplace else. Just a second. Ms. Chapman, we're going to get the story straight. I want you to understand that. You had Brian's permission to take the car and go to a doctor's appointment and then come home.
No, I had told him that I had to pick up a friend to get my own ride back home. And he said that was fine.
So you picked up a friend after your doctor's appointment, and your friend was driving in your car with you?
Yes.
And where did you go with your friend?
We went back to Brian's house.
Fine. So now you drop off the car. Where was the accident?
On the way leaving my friend's house when I had picked her up. And they were following me. I went through the desert and I hit a rock.
Went through a desert?
It was a shortcut through.
You took a shortcut? On a dirt road?
Yes.
And you hit a rock?
Yes.
And that's when the whole axle broke on the car?
Yes.
So explain to me, Miss Chapman, why you are not responsible for the damage.
Because he's saying that I did not have permission to use a car. I did have permission to use a car. When the accident happened, I called Brian and I told Brian what happened. He said, do not worry about it. I will pay for it.
Well, Brian's not here. Brian's not here. You're driving the car and you had permission to drive the car. Is that right?
Yes.
Why aren't you responsible?
Because he had told me that he was going to pay for it, and I said that was fine.
So sue him.
Yeah, he should sue him. He shouldn't be suing me.
You sue him because you have to pay for the damage. And if you have somebody that said to you, don't worry about it, I'll pay for the damage, then you'll be standing on that side and Brian will be standing on this side. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Let me see the bills to fix the car.
I also have photos of the damage.
Can I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am.
What is this lost wages for November 19th?
I'm a substitute teacher, and I had to take a day off of school and turn a job down in order to go retrieve the car. So it cost me $120.
Get that from Brian. By the way, just for my own information, did you speak to your girlfriend and find out whether Brian had ever called her?
No, I did not, and she wouldn't have given permission to use the vehicle anyway.
Well, you don't know that.
I know her.
Probably not.
He had permission to use the vehicle to go to and from work because she had already damaged their other vehicle. In fact, 2 other vehicles.
Would you describe the interior of the car, sir, when you went to retrieve it? Because I see you have cleaning and deodorizing here.
Yes, ma'am. There was a broken cigarillo butt in there, and French fries all over the floor, and dust from the desert. The exterior of the car was also covered in dust.
Talking about the interior of the car.
It was covered.
Did you stop for lunch?
Yes, I did.
Well, what'd you leave the car a mess for inside?
I was going to clean it before I took it back to him, but obviously I couldn't clean it if there was damages to the car, and a tow truck came and picked it up.
Well, why couldn't you clean it out before the tow truck took it?
Because I walked up to my friend's house to call the tow truck before I could do it, but somebody had called and said that a car was banded in the desert, and the police came and the tow truck came and towed it before I could get back to the car.
It's not a difficult case, Mr. Chandler. You have a judgment in the amount of $624.74. That's everything that you're suing for, with the exception of your day's wages. Thank you. That's all.
Funds are excused. You may step out.
Well, the story that was told in court was entirely different than the story I got.
He can hear the story from me, so therefore he could hear whatever he wants.
I was told that she was driving with a friend and heard a noise and pulled over to see what it was and hit the curb at 10 miles an hour.
I just think that I'm happy that whatever happened, and he stays out of my life.
The attitude I got was, take me to court. I'm not going to pay for this.
Yes, he could take me to court. I don't care.
I have allowed her husband to use the car to go to and from work.
The whole thing is that he says I did not have permission to use the vehicle, and as far as I knew, I did have permission to use it.
He loaned the car out to somebody else without my consent or knowledge.
The person that gave me responsibility to use it should pay for the damages.
I think justice is finally been served.
Factory worker John Goro is suing his ex-girlfriend, laundromat attendant Janice Berezowski, for damage to his car caused by her 10-year-old son, Justin. Janice says Justin was trying to protect her from a drunk John.
Order. Come to order. All rise. Yeah, this is case number 123 on the calendar in the matter of Garral versus Berezowski. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Young man, have a seat, please.
Mr. Garral, you and the defendant have known each other, according to what I've read, for many years.
Yes, ma'am.
It is your claim that the defendant is responsible for damage that her 10-year-old son did to your car.
Yes.
And tell me when this incident occurred and where it happened.
This incident occurred 5/6/02.
Yes?
In front of her house while Justin was working on his bicycle.
You went to her house?
Yes, I did.
In your car?
Yes, I did.
What did you go there for?
To see her.
So you pulled up into the driveway or in front of the house?
In front of the house.
Pulled up in front of the house, and what happened?
Jan got into the passenger side. We sat in the car for a few minutes, and I said, well, hey, let's go up to the store. I wanted to go up to the store. And I cranked the engine up.
And she said, okay, she was going to go
She was going to go with me. And
No,
Justin asked, where are you going, Ma? And she told me, nowhere. So I shut the car down. But I turned around and I asked her again. I says, come on, well, let's just go up to the store. So I started the car back up. I proceeded maybe about a foot. This is when Justin ran up to the car with a bike rim, overloaded it onto the windshield. I have pictures.
What do you mean
of
overloaded it?
Well, he smashed the window out.
Okay.
I also have pictures of the air conditioning vent before and after, and what he had done with the wrench.
Why do you think he was so upset, Mr. Garral?
Because the mother pampers him too much. Wherever she goes, he's got to go. Like little Bo Beep lost her sheep, you know.
Well, who else was home with him at the time?
Her second oldest son, Nicholas, was home.
All right, you want to tell me your version of these events?
Yes, I went into the car. I had no shoes on. I left the door open, the car door open. I never closed the door.
That car
Justin
door was
asked
closed.
me.
Don't interrupt her.
Justin asked me, Mom, you going somewhere? I said, no, I am not going anywhere. And then Justin responded, my mom's not going anywhere. And then Justin came into the car, pulling me on my lap, saying, come on, my mom doesn't want to go. She said she's not going anywhere. That is when John backhand him like this to his chest. John proceeded to go a foot about. His feet were out of the car. Then I was yelling at John. John stopped the car. Justin got out. I got out. Then John came out of the car and was upset with Justin because Justin did not want me to go, and I didn't want to go. Justin was afraid for me to go. And John hit him on the shoulder then. Justin then went to throw the bike rim, because he was changing his tire, at John. Not at the car, but it did hit the car.
So you're telling me that the plaintiff put his hands on your son?
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. If it was true that it happened, that's something that you would have indicated in here. Let me tell you, in case you forgot what you swore to in your answer. You said, Justin was upset because he thought John was forcing me to leave and John was drunk. Justin was trying to get me out of the car. When John pulled away, John narrowly missed running over Justin's feet. That's when Justin threw the bike rim that cracked John's windshield. Nowhere in this statement do you say that he got out of the car and put his hands on your son, which any mother would say. So when I ask you a question, you may be in the right and you may not be responsible for what your son did. But if you lie to me, then I'll never know. Do you understand?
Yes.
All right. So let's start again, and let's try to make the stories consistent.
Okay, I left the door open. Justin asked me if I was going somewhere. I said, no, I'm not going anywhere. And then Justin said, my mom's not going anywhere. John did, though, push him on his chest. He did. And Justin was pulling on me.
You were in the car at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
He was in the car at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
So he didn't get out of the car and hit him on the shoulder?
This was in the beginning.
He didn't get out of the car and hit him on the shoulder?
Not at that present time, no.
No, right.
And then, after John had stopped, Justin was out of the car. John did get out of the car and go to the lawn and hit Justin on his shoulder. He did.
Did you ever hit the child?
No, ma'am, I did not.
I don't believe that he hit him.
May I speak, ma'am?
Yes.
Well, after Justin broke the windshield, I sat there with, I'm astounded. My windshield's broke.
Where were you when the windshield was broken?
I was sitting on the driver's side with both doors closed.
And where was she sitting?
Right alongside of me, it's a bucket seat.
So she was actually sitting there?
Yes.
When he hit the windshield?
Yes.
And what happened? What did Justin say after he cracked the windshield?
Next thing I know, I look over and Justin's sticking a wrench into the air vent. And I said, that's enough. I jumped out of the car. But I went towards Justin. But when I looked and seen that her oldest son was standing there, I says, no. I'll just go and call the police. I went home, which I have a police report. And it says that the mother didn't do anything.
No, she didn't.
She didn't do anything.
Justin, stand up next to your mother. You're 10 years old?
Yes.
Why did you crack his windshield?
Because he had hit me in the car.
He hit you? How did he hit you in the car?
He had reached over and hit me.
Where did he hit you?
In my chest.
You mean he pushed you? That's why you broke his windshield?
And then I hit my head on the window.
Oh, sit down. Before this thing escalated into a major confrontation with your son, why didn't you just get out of the car?
He asked me if he could speak with me.
What was he speaking to you about?
He wanted me to go up to the store with him first. He said, and then we can discuss matters, because we don't get along that well. And he's always calling Justin vulgar names, constantly.
And you have no right to be with him, madam, if he's calling your child vulgar names. Were you drinking that day, too?
No.
Were you drinking that day?
Yes.
Was she drinking that day?
No.
What are you doing behind the wheel of the car drinking?
I wasn't drinking in the car.
You had been drinking. What were you doing driving a car, having had things to drink?
I had a few beers, Your Honor.
Had no reason to get into the car.
But I was capable of driving the car, which I know it was wrong.
You say.
Yes, ma'am.
You say. Have you ever been drunk in front of her child before?
Yes.
Has there ever been any incident of domestic violence between the two of you where you've been drinking?
I'd say no.
Yes.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
His behavior in the past has not been the kind of behavior that you want to expose your children to. And you continue to expose them to him because if he wasn't drinking on that day, there's always tomorrow. You got me?
And later today,
All the wires to the electrical things in my room were cut.
You were angry.
About what?
About what? About being evicted from the apartment.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. John Gorel says his ex-girlfriend's son, 10-year-old Justin Berezowski, smashed out his windshield. Justin says he retaliated after John hit him.
Mr. Gorel, I believe that you are at least partially responsible for the atmosphere that was created on that day. You have a 10-year-old child who has seen you in a state where you are intoxicated. He's probably seen some instance of, if not real violence between the two of you, words that were exchanged that were not nice. And then you come over to the house, but clearly his desire not to have his mother leave with you, he tries to act like a protective man of the house. That doesn't mean that you are solely responsible, because I think his mother bears some of this responsibility. Because despite the fact that he says he has been intoxicated in front of you, intoxicated in front of your son, you continue to socialize with him.
You're right.
Right. And your son is outside, and you too know, or you should know as a mother, that your son has witnessed things that a 10-year-old should not witness. Right?
That's correct.
Okay. So,
would you please listen to this, Your Honor?
No.
I have
Please,
something else
it's
to
very
say, Your Honor,
important.
Listen to
myself.
me. You think that you're not partially responsible?
No, I never said that.
Well, good. That's what I'm saying to you. The damage that we're talking about is $500. You're partially responsible. Put your hand down, sir. You're not paying good attention. You're not getting the whole picture. I get the picture. She likes to have a social relationship with you, even though the two of you together may not do the right thing all the time in front of this 10-year-old child, and the 10-year-old child is reacting to past history.
Can I say something, please?
Yes.
All I did, when he had called me, I asked him if he had been drinking, and he said no.
So, what
So
does
I
that have
did-
to do with what I just said to you? His behavior in the past has not been the kind of behavior that you want to expose your children to. And you have. And you continue to expose them to him, because if he wasn't drinking on that day, there's always tomorrow. You got me?
Yes, ma'am.
You got me? You have exposed your children to things that they should not have been exposed to. And if your son is reacting to that, you're partially responsible. He's partially responsible. But he's not his child. He's your child. So he bears half the cost. Suing for $500, judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $250. You pay the rest. That's all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't think I should have had to pay anything because he was provoked in it.
Takes two to tango.
Stay alone if you encounter men like this.
Healthcare worker Ann Sanchez is suing her daughter, 25-year-old homemaker Felicia Ruiz Mendoza, for an unpaid car loan and for the return of stolen property. Felicia is countersuing for the return of car payments, assault, and for filing false charges with Child Protective Services.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 185 on the calendar in the matter of Sanchez versus Ruiz Mendoza. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Ladies, have seats, please.
Ms. Sanchez, the defendant is your daughter, is that right?
That's correct, Your Honor.
Your cause of action has two parts. One is for car payments that you say you were forced to make when your daughter didn't make payments on a car that she had bought. The second thing is for items of furniture that you bought for her with certain conditions. She reneged on the conditions, and you feel as if she should be responsible for paying for the furniture, or you want it back. So let's deal with the car first. Tell me about this car.
Okay, and she had come back from Alabama in around April, May of 2001. And they
How long had she been in Alabama?
About 3-4 months. So she calls me and asks me if I could possibly help her get a car, that she had a job and she needed transportation. So I called my banker and asked him if I could borrow some money to help my daughter buy a car. And he said, well, you already have a $1,500 note now. And I said, well, she agreed that if I could borrow the money, that she would also pay what I had owed, you know, just so she could have transportation.
I don't understand that. Run that by me again.
I already owed $1,500. I had a note myself. I asked him if I could borrow an additional $2,700. He said, well, he could combine the two together, and the payments would be $202.29 for 24 months.
Go ahead.
This year in maybe February, March, I don't know when, she had an accident in the car. And her and her boyfriend had gone to Oklahoma, and she had left the Oldsmobile down there and abandoned it. So
up until that time, she had made the car payments?
Yes.
And how much was she making in the car payments?
$202.29.
But that also included your note?
Right.
How much were you paying to the bank on your note, Miss Sanchez?
I think mine was $85 a month.
So she paid $1,105 on your note?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And so when she never did go get the car back, when me and my husband went over, it was a $250 deductible. Plus I had to have new tires put on it, and I had to have it all reconditioned.
And then what'd you do with it?
Well, I sold it on August 15th.
Okay, what did you sell it for?
For $2,200.
$2,200 for the car.
The payoff was 19 something.
Say $1,900. Mm-hmm. Now you had to put on new tires. And how much did you spend for new tires?
I spent $217. Then I had to have all new lug nuts on it. They were $32, $33.
How many payments did you make for her?
June, July. Because she had the accident.
$672 so
She
far
first said that
is
she
what you
did
owe
it.
your daughter. That's what you owe your daughter. She didn't owe you. You owe her. Now tell me about the furniture.
Okay, she has called me. She has been to my house already 4 times this year. She's always got an excuse that her and her boyfriend are fighting and all that. And the time before last that she called, she said that he said he loved her, but he couldn't stand her kids. And so she called me crying and asked me if she could come home. And she did. And she promised she wouldn't go back, but she did. So this last time that she came, I told her that I would help her any way that I could. And I had just refinanced my home, and I was going to have some extra money. And I told her, I said, that I will help you get set up in an apartment. I will pay the deposit. I will help you get the furniture that you need to set it up for you and the boys if you're willing to stay here in Gainesville and not go back to him. Oh, I'm not going back, Mom, I promise. So I bought her a sofa and love seat. There was a TV and VCR that was bought. I paid $150 down deposit on the apartment for her. I have all the stuff here.
And then she went back to the boyfriend?
Yes, she did.
So how long did she stay in the apartment that you lived in?
She never moved in, Your Honor. She went and got the cashier's check and cashed it back in for the money.
Did you cash the check that your mother gave you for down payment on an apartment?
No, I put the deposit.
What cash did your mother give you for the apartment?
She didn't give me any cash. I put the deposit. I have the receipt. It's in my name and everything.
Did you
Yes,
give her money?
I wrote her a check, Your Honor, for $150 cash because they wouldn't take a personal check at the apartment complex. I gave her a $150 check. She went to the bank, and while she's in the bank, she filled it out into her name so that way she could get it back.
I believe your mother. I believe your mother. Don't lie. You know, I mean, so far, you're in pretty good shape. Your mother owes you $672. But don't lie to me, because that makes me feel stupid. Did your mother give you a check for $150?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Your Honor, I love my
Jump
daughter.
up. Just a minute. I got it. I got the drill. No, I got the drill. What other cash did you give her?
I bought the sofa and love seat for her.
Forget about the sofa and love seat. According to what you just testified to me, you said to her, I'm going to help you get set up, but you have to promise me you're not going to go back to this jerk. And she said to you at the moment, I promise you I'm never going to go back to this jerk.
Yes, sir.
The other part of what you would have to say in order to make that kind of an agreement is, that's binding is, and if you go back to him, you must return to me the furniture or the value of the furniture. Do you understand?
Well, I did say that at one time.
Well. But that's not what you told me. You told me what the conversation was with her. How old are your children?
7 and 5.
Now, Mr. Dreamboat, is he the father of either of these children?
No, ma'am.
What kind of work does he do?
Excuse me?
What word didn't you understand that I just said?
He doesn't work.
Does he not work because he is in some way physically challenged?
No, ma'am. He has we're trying to file for disability for him.
So he's in some way physically challenged?
He has to have surgery, but since he's older, he can't have tubes in his ear. He has drainage that cause real bad migraines.
How much older is he than you are?
He's 34.
A 34-year-old unemployed somebody who wants to put drains in his ears because he gets headaches and he can't work. Let me ask you this question. And you know, I've been around the block a couple of times. How many times have you called the police with regard to domestic violence in your home? Make sure that I get a correct answer.
1 time.
It'd take a lot for you to call the police to come to your house because...
No, ma'am.
Really not? You mean there was just a little yelling?
No, he yelled at me and I called the police because he was throwing things.
He was being violent around your two children who are how old? 5 and 7.
Yes, ma'am.
And he's not the father of those two children.
No, ma'am.
How many times have you had to move away because of him?
2 times.
How old are you?
25.
Do your 5 and 7-year-old sons have the same father?
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am.
Is he employed?
Yes, ma'am.
Does he have any communication with the children?
No, ma'am.
Is that by his choice?
Yes, ma'am.
Another idiot. So now you're 24, 25, and have chosen 2 losers that I know about.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You want to be a bum magnet. That's your problem. Grow up.
And later today,
all the walls were torn out. We had talked about it months before. He said it was the spur of the moment, his exact words.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ann Sanchez says her daughter, Felicia Ruiz Mendoza, owes for an unpaid car loan. Ann says Felicia abandoned the vehicle out of state.
You can't do this anymore. I don't care if you never have a boyfriend the rest of your life. Either that, or take your 2 sons, get down on your knees, beg your mother, say, listen, I made a mistake. Could you please take care of your grandsons? But you're going from one place to another place to another place, going from one loser to another with 2 little boys who are the innocents. Why do you want to do that? I mean, you have a counterclaim that your mother assaulted you when you told her you were leaving again?
I didn't.
I don't even want to hear the story. I don't even want to hear the story. It's a good thing you got a hair left in your head. She doesn't want you, who she loves, or especially 2 innocent grandchildren, to keep going through this migrant lifestyle that you've selected for your children. It's terrible. You made car payments on the car for a year, $200 a month. That's part of your counterclaim. Where can you rent a car for less than $200 a month? Anywhere in the world?
No, ma'am.
Not as far as I know. So you don't get that back. The next part of your counterclaim is that your mother called Child Protective Services on you.
Yes, ma'am.
Probably with good cause. From what I hear and from my life's experience, probably with good cause. You called Child Protective Services?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and what did you tell them?
I told them that I was worried about my 2 grandsons, that they were living in a real bad area in town, and that both of them had a drinking problem, and they have the kids in the car going up and down the highway all the time. In October 2000, they were also called because the children were left in the house alone while she was out running around somewhere. She had left them in the care of a small little girl.
This 34-year-old with the tubes in his ears, he has a drinking problem?
Yes, they both do.
Both do.
All the time they're drinking. I mean, they don't buy cans, they buy the big quarts.
Your children here today in court?
No, ma'am.
Where are they?
They're at home.
With whom?
With Carlos.
Carlos isn't well enough to be employed, but he's well enough to watch your 2 sons?
Yes, ma'am.
Other than watching your 2 sons, does Carlos have any biological children of his own?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you know that? I knew that. So at least there's something about Carlos that works. How old are his children?
He, 12, 11, and 10, or 9.
So this bum isn't paying any child support either because he's got tubes in his ears. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you getting my drift?
Yes, ma'am.
You better grow up. You made 2 babies. They are innocent. You're guilty. If you brought them into the world, and you brought them into the world with somebody who's not interested in being their father, then it's your responsibility to be both mother and father to them. And you're not supposed to introduce them to another person who's a bum. You want to be a bum magnet. That's your problem. But you have 2 children. And if you want to be a bum magnet, then you have to do the right thing and you have to turn over custody of your children to your mother. I mean, how do you know that Carlos isn't home right now drinking a big brew and sitting around and watching television or doing whatever he's doing? How do you know that?
I don't.
You don't. You don't know whether he's hitting them. You don't know whether he's angry with them. You don't know whether he's locking them in a closet. You don't know whether he's drunk. You don't know what the hell he's doing. And that's better off for your children than being with their grandmother. Grow up! Your counterclaim's dismissed. So is your claim. And I want to tell you something. You have a responsibility. If you believe that your grandsons are being neglected, you have a responsibility to petition for custody in a family court. Now, you may not get it, but if you don't at least take that step and something happens to your grandsons, you're going to be sorry for the rest of your life. Do you understand? That's all. Bye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I thought the judge was fair. Like I said, it wasn't about money. It was about principle. How, you try to help your children and the way they stab you in the back, more or less.
There was no reason for her to bring me here. I didn't owe her anything.
Like Judge Judy said, he's a bum. He's a no-working alcoholic.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Fair versus Wharton, step forward, please.
21-year-old bank representative Jessica Fair is suing her ex-fiancé, 23-year-old medical equipment repairman Neil Wharton, for his share of a joint loan. Neil is countersuing for a lost engagement ring.
Miss Fair, you and the defendant were engaged to be married, and there came a time when you and the defendant became inundated with bills, credit card bills, etc. So you went to your mother,
yes,
and you asked if she could help you out with a loan,
yes,
so that you could clear up all of your debts, and you would pay her back.
Yes.
You and the defendant would pay her back. Is that right?
Yes.
And your mother gave you $8,000.
Yes.
Then you and the defendant broke up. The engagement was off. Now, you're not seeking half the money from the defendant, but according to you, you're seeking only the amount of money that was attributed to his bills, his personal bills that were paid off from this loan from your mother.
Right.
Is that right?
Yes.
Mr. Wharton says that there was never an agreement with him and your mother for this loan. So far, is that right, Mr. Wharton? And he is counterclaiming for the value of the engagement ring, which he says was never returned to him. Correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Who was present when the discussion of the loan came up with your mother?
There was numerous discussions of the loan. There was a point where all three of us had been there.
Do you remember discussions about this loan to pay off your bills?
No. She had told me that she was going to seek help for her bills from her mother. I didn't know anything that had anything to do with mine. But as far as us, all three of us sitting in a room together, no.
Did you have substantial credit card bills?
Yes.
How much?
About $3,000 worth.
Now, when Miss Fair's mother agreed to make this loan, were your $3,000 worth of bills paid off?
I do not know.
What do you mean you don't know?
Yeah, exactly that. I really don't know.
Well, you get statements from your credit card company.
No. She called the credit companies and said she was filing bankruptcy and had my mailing address and everything sent to her.
Well, did you ever pay those bills, sir, the $3,000 worth of bills?
I have been paying them off, yes.
You have been?
Yes.
Show me.
I didn't.
Show me. Well, what do you think you were coming here for? Waltz lessons?
No.
Show me where you had paid off the bills. Do you have bank statements showing me that you have paid each month towards paying down this $3,000 worth of debt?
No, ma'am, I don't.
Why not?
I don't.
You want to show me proof that you paid off his credit card bills?
Yes. On the front is a spreadsheet showing everything that he owes and account numbers linked to either him or jointly, and some pay stubs with the bank statement.
What was purchased at Samuel's Jewelers?
My first engagement ring.
What happened to that?
He has it.
Is that right, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Xerox Credit Union, is that you, sir?
It was a consolidation loan. When we split, she decided she was going to take that loan, and I was going to take a wedding loan that we took out for $5,000.
What was that used for?
It was to pay off her other ring that she got.
That's not true.
Well, what was it used to pay off?
I believe we paid the DJ, and we put a down payment on the reception hall. The consolidation loan actually paid off the ring.
Is that right, sir?
Not that I know of. I believe it was with the MBNA wedding thing that we took out.
Have you been paying on that loan?
On the MBNA, yes, I have.
You have proof of that?
No, I don't.
Did he take over that loan, $5,000?
I am still receiving statements on my part saying that the loan is past due, so...
Are you also a co-signatory on that loan?
Yes, I am.
Oh, you in trouble. Now, Miss Fair, what happened to the second engagement ring?
The second engagement ring...
Look at me.
I'm sorry.
What happened to the second engagement ring, Miss Fair?
The second engagement ring was purchased in April 27th, 2 days before my birthday. We financed it jointly, and I paid that with the consolidation loan.
So I'm asking you where the engagement ring is.
I lost it. I don't have it.
I'm not sure if I believe that, Miss Fair, so you better tell me the truth. I'm going to give you one more opportunity. If you have an expensive piece of jewelry, what you usually do is you insure it. So you want to tell me where it is?
I honestly don't have it. When we split, I was giving him back both of his rings. I gave him back the original engagement ring. I couldn't find the other one.
That's not his fault. Did you make any payments, sir, on the consolidation loan?
We were paying from a joint bank account.
Is that right?
Yes, it is.
So he actually paid for part of the ring?
Yes.
Okay. And how much was the entire ring?
I have a receipt for it. It was $2,144.63.
All right, Miss Fair, listen to me very carefully. I believe that Mr. Wharton is responsible for his own bills, and since he does not have any proof that he is currently paying off on this $3,000 credit card debt, I find that the $3,000 that you actually paid off of his credit card debt, he should be responsible for. And from that, I am deducting half of the cost of the engagement ring, which is $1,072, leaving a balance of $1,928. For that, I am issuing a judgment for the plaintiff and, of course, dismissing your counterclaim. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I just wish her luck.
Just happy that the issue is resolved.
She found somebody better, and I wish them luck.
I'm sorry things turned out the way they did. He's a good guy.
There was no doubt that her mom did pay bills. I just didn't agree with the amount that it was.
Don't ever co-sign. Don't ever go joint with anybody. Don't ever jointly sign with anybody.
Ms. Karen Holmson is suing her ex-boyfriend, aerospace worker Carrie Miles, for damage to her car and medical expenses. Carrie is countersuing for defamation of character as the result of a slanderous flyer.
Order. All rise. Now, this is case number 235 on the calendar in the matter of Holmson versus Miles. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Sir, have a seat, please.
Miss Holmson, your claim is twofold. First, you claim that the defendant, who you were dating for a period of time, damaged your car, and he did it on purpose. He keyed your car, and then he damaged your sunroof and other parts of the car because he was angry. Second part of your claim is that he had agreed to pay for some medical tests for you, and while he gave you some money towards the medical tests, that's what he said, the amount of money that he gave you was not sufficient. But he said, I only agreed to give her $200. Any other tests that she did were tests that she decided to do on her own. Is that right?
Correct, Your Honor.
You also, Mr. Miles, acknowledge that you did cause some damage to the car, but you say that you did pay for that damage, and you're going to prove that to me, right?
Correct.
So, how long were you dating before you got into this argument with him?
I met him on Valentine's Day, and he did the damage to the car when he keyed the car in April.
April of what year?
Of last year.
So in April of 2001, he keyed your car?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Okay, we got in an argument due to, because we were dating, and a woman had called the home, my home. She said that she just got out of jail and that Steve had come to pick her up and she'd spent some time with him. So we got an argument over that, and I told him I didn't want to see him anymore, and he was drunk as usual. And he left, and I spoke with a neighbor. They said that they saw him.
Don't tell me what a neighbor saw.
Oh, I know. I personally didn't see it, but he laughed at me later to my face and said, ha, ha, ha. Okay? Later on, the woman had called, because he left when he was at work, he had left his cell phone at home, and I answered it. And it was the same woman. Well, this woman was all messed up, or something, I don't know. She stated that she had had sex with Mr. Miles. That just hurt me so bad. So I told him that due to the fact that I found out that she was a prostitute and coming out of jail, that I wanted to be tested because I wanted to leave him, and that was only fair. So he admitted that it was his fault, that much in fact he owed me that he would take me to the doctor and pay for all doctor bills. When we went to the doctor, he didn't give me any money. I haven't received a dime. My doctor bills come to $790.50. And at the end of it, it was so ugly when he moved in with me in my apartment on Grand.
You're rambling.
Okay, no. It's very, no, Your Honor.
You're rambling.
Okay,
all right.
Anyway.
So let me understand this. It's simple. Your car was keyed, but you didn't see him do it. And your proof is that he looked at you and laughed and said, ha, ha, ha. That's your proof. What other damage was done to the car?
He took my car drunk to the car wash. He obviously had pushed a button in the middle console.
When was this?
I'd say May, middle May, because we took the car into the shop.
This was after this woman called you on the telephone?
Yes.
You took the car with him? You let him take the car? Were you still
yes,
together?
Yes, because we had just got through moving, and I was having a nervous breakdown.
Just a second. So you were still together at that point?
Yes.
And when did he key your car? What month?
April.
So after he keyed your car, you still lived with him?
Yes.
And then he took the car drunk in May?
Yes.
Do you drink too?
Occasionally,
yes.
But I don't drink and drive.
But you drink too?
Occasionally.
Yes. And you drink a little or a lot?
On occasions, I do drink.
How about today?
No.
How about today?
No.
No. What's the matter?
No.
What's the matter?
Just listening.
Okay. When did you go to the doctor?
6/12.
And when had you received the telephone call from this woman?
2 weeks prior, because she said he had to get some money to take me to the doctor. Well, after he'd agreed to pay so much money, the lab reports came back, and that ended up costing so much more money that he was unaware of, so I sent him.
And when did you finally separate?
He wouldn't leave the home because it's a law that you have to serve somebody and give them 30 days to leave. So I had to leave my own home and go to Alaska, leaving him in charge of my home and my animals. He destroyed my home, didn't feed my animals, wouldn't let my maids in to clean it.
Could you just tell me when you separated?
We separated when I returned from Alaska on July 9th. And, Your Honor, you could see that I need a follow-up because something came back from saying that something was wrong with me, and due to the financial status that he left me in, I have been unable to return to the doctor to find out what is wrong with me. So I've lived with it for months, freaking out, thinking, what is wrong? And I can't afford to go back because I'm a single mom. I just paid for my daughter's wedding and picking up his end of my rent.
Let me explain something to you. If you think you have something wrong with you physically, you take care of that before you pay for your daughter's wedding. Don't talk stupid. Don't talk really stupid, because these tests are over a year old.
I sent them to him. He refuses to pay me.
I'm not talking about him refusing to pay you. I'm talking about if you think that there's something wrong with you physically.
Your Honor, I don't have insurance, and I don't have the money, and it's cost a ton.
How much was your daughter's wedding?
$3,000.
You paid for that? You just told me?
She's entitled to that, Your Honor. I had promised her that.
That's great. That's great. But if you think there's something physiologically wrong with you, then you take care of that before you take care of anything else.
That's why I'm
anything. So
don't
be foolish. Don't be foolish. I mean, don't say stupid things to me, because if you say stupid things to me, it presupposes that I'm stupid. And I don't like people to think I'm stupid. Old, maybe. Stupid, never.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Don't care.
This is proof, Your Honor.
Don't care.
This is why I came to you, because I know you're very fair. And
I am very fair and very short-tempered.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Karen Holmeson claims ex-boyfriend Carrie Miles owes for damage to her car and for the cost of blood tests after he had an affair with a prostitute. Carrie is countersuing for defamation of character.
All right. Mr. Miles, I'm going to hear from you, sir. Let's start with the car.
Okay, I did not key her car.
Fine, let's talk about what you did to her car.
Okay, I did take it to the car wash.
When you were drunk?
No, I wasn't drunk.
What'd you take it to the car wash for, sir?
Because she wanted it to be washed.
Yeah.
So I had it washed for her, brought it back, left it at her house. I took off, went back home. She calls me up about 3 or 4 days later and says that she was out driving and the sunroof come off and that I broke the sunroof. I can't prove that I did or I didn't. I took responsibility. I took it down to the Porsche dealer. I paid $800 to have it fixed, and that was the end of the car situation. I would never touch that car because of that.
What about the medical test?
I did agree to have an AIDS test.
Stop playing with your papers. I can't hear him.
And when it finally came to an end, yes, it was a very bad situation. So yeah, she sent a bill. I have one bill here for $558, and then now she's saying it's $800 and something. No, it was not. I agreed. I paid $200 at the clinic when we went there for the test. Yes, I did agree for that. I did pay that, and that was that.
Would you ask him if this is his signature, please?
No, it is not. Or wait, yes, it is.
Would you read what that says?
It says, I, Carrie Stephen Miles, will pay Corinne $350 on Friday 18th and $25 and take you to the doctor on Tuesday the 22nd.
So did you give her $350?
Yes, I did.
Show me.
I don't have a receipt for it, Your Honor.
Well, show me a check.
I don't have a check for it.
So, is this the note that he signed for you?
Yes, Your Honor. There's also another one stating that he would pay for all of the car and all of the lab.
Well, I don't have a note for that.
Is that okay that I reach in here now that he's not?
Now
speaking?
you have. Now you
okay,
can do that.
thank you very much. Here's this, and here's also. Oh, gosh, okay. Here also is for the car damages. Would she like to see that?
Sure, that note.
Could I give you a bailiff this, ma'am?
No. It's your signature, right?
Yes, it is.
Well, would you explain all that to me, sir?
Yes. At that time, when this was all coming to an end, I
Yeah.
did write that.
Why? It says here
Because
that you promised to pay her $430 for the damages to the car, $50 because something that you owed her, for doctor bills for a full exam and lab work done, and will pay $400 and no cents for rent before July 1st, 2001. And then you signed it.
Okay, at that time, I signed it to get her out of my life because of the things she has been caused in my life. She sent flyers all through my work.
Just a minute. Then you're coming to
Okay.
your counterclaim, sir. I'm going to get to your
Okay.
counterclaim in a second. You signed these IOUs, right?
Yes.
You stuck with them.
Okay.
Just show that to me at the beginning. I didn't have to listen to all this nonsense.
Your Honor, this is my car. This is for the car. My estimate is $6,200.
I don't care what the estimate is. $430 is what I have a note for. Period. Period. End of discussion. End of discussion.
This is proof, Your Honor. If you would read this further, because they fixed the car, they sent it back. It was malfunctioning. They did further research on it. They saw that he smashed it, so they had to get a whole new sunroof. And here's all the repeats. It's all in
Listen to
the.
me. Don't care. Don't care.
I
This
do.
is what.
It's my life and my
This
car.
then you should have pursued your remedy sooner. This is what you have a note for.
This is why I came to you, because I know you're very fair. And
I
this is
am
why
very fair
I would like you
and
to
very
read this.
short-tempered. Now, let's get to your counterclaim. Your counterclaim says that because she was very angry with you, put some flyers up around town that caused you a great deal of stress and discomfort.
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you have one of those flyers?
Yes, I do.
I'd like to take a look at it. Listen, if there's not quiet.
And I also have a witness that was present at my work when they were put all through my work at
Okay.
a bar that I
Just
was
a minute.
at.
Just a second. Just a second. Just a second. Now, this is a very, very nasty flyer. Did you do this flyer?
No, I did not, Your Honor.
Well, it is certainly nasty.
I bet he did it himself.
What?
He probably did it for himself.
Why would you say that? Have you seen
I
them?
don't know. Because he's already told me that I did this and that, and I haven't.
Listen to me. I'm asking you a question. Did you or did you not?
No, I
put
did
up
not.
a flyer of
No, I did not.
Okay. You have a witness that you say saw her put this flyer around?
No, that's seen the flyers at my work.
I didn't see her.
Didn't see her, no. It was done early morning when
So-
we were all inside working.
What proof do you have, sir, that she did it?
I have a letter that matches her handwriting there, and I also have, I know where that picture came from that she cut out and put on those. That picture was taken when we were out to dinner one night at a photo booth right by the restaurant we went to. And then she pasted my face onto those.
Where did this note come from?
She sent it to my house.
On the back of the bill from the doctor.
Right, 'cause that's the note she sent to my house. And I also have a letter from my work stating that the flyers were put up all around my work.
Just a minute. You put these up.
No, I did not, ma'am.
You sure you did?
No, I did not.
I think you did.
I know that I didn't.
I think you did.
Your Honor, I also have a letter from my work stating that they were posted all throughout
Let me see.
my job.
Let me see it. No, I think
No,
you did.
Could I look at
I would-
could I look at what I supposedly did, Your Honor, please?
Sure can.
That is absolutely not my writing. That is absolutely not my writing.
Well, what about
Without
the
a
only
benefit
about
of a doubt.
just a second? What about the letter? Is that your writing?
Oh, the letter is most definitely my
It's the
writing.
same writing.
This is, no, it is not.
Can I please have that back?
That is not, and I did not do that. The police called me up, and I was at home sleeping. I got a phone call from the Garden Grove Police Department in the morning, woke me up.
Okay.
I did not do that, and that is a lie, and I am not a liar.
Whether you did it or whether you caused it to be done, madam, I believe
do that.
it is my responsibility to weigh by a preponderance of the evidence whether I believe that he has sustained his burden on his counterclaim. I believe that he has.
That is not my writing, and if you want to see me, that is not my writing.
Your Honor.
Go ahead.
I also have a witness. He's a fellow co-worker that was a witness that I had dropped my keys into the ocean. She had a set of my keys and would not give them back until I gave her money. That's one of the reasons I signed that thing. She still wouldn't give me back my keys.
I don't care why you signed it. You signed it.
You're correct.
Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
You signed it. Now, what were the ramifications of having these things posted around your job?
A lot of humor and a lot of humiliation.
Yeah, I think so.
They were around my work. They were at the local bar that I go to, and they were around my neighborhood. I work with 650 people, and probably half of them are women. So yes, it was
not nice. Absolutely not nice.
They had to pull people out of doing their job to go pick up these flyers all over the parking lot. Yeah, I almost lost my job. They were wondering what was going to happen next. They called me up to the front office, wondering should they get a security guard?
Listen.
What's up next?
Okay. You were in a relationship with this lady. It's clear to me you didn't do the right thing.
For 3 months, yes, I was.
You were in a relationship and didn't do the right thing.
Right.
Right?
Correct.
So there are certain things that could happen to you as a result of that. Right? You made her really, really mad. Do you understand?
Yes, I do.
Really angry. As a result of that being really angry, she retaliated and did this. She's going to pay for that because as far as I'm concerned, I would have awarded her almost $1,800 on her claim. She's going to get nothing on her claim. She's going to get nothing on her claim because if the situation were reversed and you put these signs up around about her, and just because you're a guy and she's the gal doesn't mean that it's any less obnoxious, any less defamatory, any less vulgar. Yes, you did. Judgment on the counterclaim in the amount of $2,500.
Please check the numbers. These are my handwriting and figures. Look at how different they are. Look at that is my letter, but the poster's not. These are my figures. There is a phone number on there. Do they match my writing of the totals here? So, ma'am, please look at this because this is wrong.
Sure.
And
I will.
swear to
Listen.
God,
my mind is open.
I did not do that. I would not do that.
My mind is open.
No, I have children and grandchildren, Your Honor, and I would not put that up. No way, no way. There's children that would have seen that. That is not right, and I swear to God I did not do that. I swear to God I did not do that, and they're not even close. I know that's not my writing.
All right. You have opportunity and inclination. You also have a picture of him. You also had a motive to do it because you were really, really angry.
It's not my writing, and that is my writing. That picture, I don't even know. I didn't even really look at the picture. I was looking at the handwriting.
Take a look at the picture.
And I don't even have a picture of him because he took them all and ripped them all up. He is the one that had the picture. And if I wouldn't know better, he took the thing because that is not my writing. I mean, I wish you would call somebody in here to see the signatures because the numbers, I swear, if you look at mine on the, it says grand total, do you see the numbers? They're not even close to that.
I see the grand total.
It's not the same, and it's not fair because I didn't do that.
Listen to me. You may not be satisfied. I'm satisfied.
Well, can't you see for your own eyes that it doesn't match? They don't match. It's not my writing.
Your problem is...
It's not my writing.
Madam, I'm telling you, I believe that you were so angry for a very good reason that you put up these flyers, and whether you wrote it or whether you had a friend write it or somebody else wrote it, this is what you did. And I'm looking, I'm reading. Do you want me to read what you wrote on this?
To say that I did.
Do you want me to read what you wrote on this?
That's scandalous. I think he had those made just to do what he's doing right now. That's what I believe.
Don't make this uglier than you.
But I didn't do it. I
live
didn't
with you.
do it.
No, this is what you wrote.
Oh, I wrote that, Your Honor.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what I'm reading, madam.
Upset? Are you out of your mind? Yes, I'm upset. But I would never go to the fire department. I never did that. I swear to God.
I believe you did.
No,
I'm not going to read this because this is too sick.
Because that's just right up his alley.
You have my verdict. Do you understand what the verdict is?
Yes.
Good. Judgment on the counterclaim in the amount of $2,500. Plaintiff gets absolutely nothing. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't understand the verdict. I think that she needs a new pair of glasses.
I'm happy with the judgment. I think it was fair and just.
I think that she accused me of something I know without a benefit of a doubt I did not do.
I'd do anything to get out of this relationship.
I think it's out of control.
I never lived with her, for one thing.
It's absurd.
She needs money.
Look at all the things that he had done to me. He had to do something because he knew he owed me that money.
For the nightmare I went through, That was nothing.
I don't care about this man, but I do care about the bills he left with me with, and the financial status, and all the pain and suffering, and the lies, and the car damage, and everything.
Not getting my keys back, have my car all rekeyed.
Of course he would make those flyers. They'd be right up his alley, pornographic things like that.
No, I didn't. I have proof from my work, bars. I mean, there's 1,000 people that's seen that flyer.
The doctor bills I still have to return, and you know what? He still owes me for all of that, because he went out with a prostitute. That's why. That's what kind of punk he is.
Don't break the law.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Brown versus Valero. Step forward, please.
Home health care provider Greg Brown is suing his ex-fiancée, insurance claims assistant Christina Valero, for an unpaid loan. Christina says Greg forgave the loan when they began dating.
Mr. Brown, you claim a loan to the defendant.
Yes, ma'am.
When she was in some financial difficulty.
Yes, ma'am.
The loan was for rent. The loan was for, I think, $2,300.
Yes, ma'am.
You were paid back $200 from a relative of hers.
Yes, ma'am.
With an outstanding balance of $2,100.
Yes, ma'am.
However, she says that you forgave that loan after you started dating. Is that what your defense is?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. When did you meet her, Mr. Brown?
Early September.
Of what year?
2001, ma'am.
And when did you make this loan for the rent, and under what circumstances?
She came to me, she gave me a phone call and said that she was going to be thrown out of her apartment. I gave her the loan under the conditions that she would sign an IOU and pay me back.
Can I see it, please? I assume that that's the piece of paper you have.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I typed that letter, and
I wasn't speaking to you.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, as we persisted on, our friendship grew into a relationship. The relationship was quite expensive. She was constantly asking for money. $100 here, $100 there. I felt that I was being taken advantage of, literally. So she had told me that she was going to a dinner party with her company in Santa Rosa, and she was supposed to come back that night.
When was that, sir?
That was September 28th, I believe.
Still during the month of September?
Yes, yes. She refused to come back because she said she fell asleep in her car and was there all night. Well, I'm not exactly a fool, so I figured that she was doing something she wasn't supposed to do. At that time, I figured her irresponsibility to the relationship was not what I was looking for, so I dismissed it.
So you terminated the
relationship? Yes, I did.
Okay, and you asked her back for the money?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I'll hear from you, Miss Valero.
We started as friends, and I was in a financial difficulty at that time, and he offered that he would help us.
Who's us?
My daughter, my sister-in-law here, my son.
Go ahead.
I even typed a promissory note thinking that I would, I would really pay him. And then he said, we went out to dinner and he said he's interested in me. And we started dating, and then he gave me a promise ring, which is this.
All in the month of September?
Yes.
Go ahead, keep going.
And then on my birthday, he gave me this.
When's your birthday?
December.
Now we're jumping to December.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole month of November, we were fine. Then we broke up for maybe 2-3 weeks because of that incident that I went out with my friends.
Could you get to your defense, please? I'm really anxious.
He promised to marry me. He asked me to marry him.
Yes. When did he ask you to marry him?
Like November.
And what did you say?
And I said, okay, we'll, if our relationship is going good,
I'm waiting for the defense.
Please.
Finally, shh. Finally, all of a sudden, he told me that his mother died. I tried calling him and calling him.
I'm getting weak. Would you tell me what your defense is, madam?
There is.
He disappeared on me.
Yes.
And he told me that when we're together, the loan is gone.
He said if the relationship gets that deeper, you don't have to pay me back the money.
Yes.
So it didn't get that deep. So you have to pay him back the money. What is so hard to understand?
Yes, Your Honor, it got deeper because we tried looking for a house and we were talking about marriage.
So?
He even put away an engagement ring for me.
It sounds like he was a very nice man. He's not asking you for the jewelry back.
He is.
No. He isn't. Not in this lawsuit.
Yes, he told my sister-in-law here.
He's not
But he
asking for
wanted-
it. Listen, this is his one shot at a lawsuit. He's not asking for the jewelry back. He knows that that was a gift.
That's right.
He knows he can't get the jewelry back. Jewelry that looks very nice on you, and I'm sure you enjoy wearing. This was a loan. And if he forgave the loan, what you do is you say, if you forgive the loan, Greg, if you forgive the loan, could I have the IOU back that I signed and I typed, and I'd like to rip it up. We'll have a ripping up IOU party. That's what you do when he forgives the loan. Meanwhile, you have to pay back his money. Stop being a gold digger and a taker. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,100. That's all.
While desire excuse, you may step out.
Even after the loan, it's constantly at $100 here, $100 there. It's ridiculous.
He just disappeared on me. I don't think I owe him that money.
I was being taken advantage of, clearly.
Never took advantage of anybody.
She called me and said, I haven't seen you in a while, and how come you don't give me any more money? And that was the last straw.
Account executive Carlene Collins is suing her ex-boyfriend, electrician Bobby Tierno, for damaging her property after they split up. Bobby says he was just trying to help her move.
Order, all rise. Yeah, this is case number 312 on the calendar in the matter of Collins versus Tierno. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated.
Miss Collins, your complaint against the defendant is as follows. You lived together for a brief period of time. You decided that the relationship wasn't for you. You were moving out. According to you, the defendant became a little hostile, had a hissy fit, and damaged your property, your car and personal property. He says, well, there might have been some weakness in the car that caused the damage. He really didn't do anything. Right, sir?
Yes.
Okay. How long did you live together?
It was about 3 months.
Okay. And what date did you decide to move out?
It was in August, the 23rd. Actually, it's 22nd.
Okay, so tell me what happened.
I was packing boxes to put in the car and had the hatchback open. And he came in.
Your car has a hatchback.
Yes.
According to
yes. And he saw the boxes and started freaking out, getting mad. Oh yeah, you want to leave? Go ahead. And I'll help you. And just start loading boxes out and taking and dumping them. And he dumping him in the car, like in a big pile. And one of the boxes, my video camera came flying out and just broke it.
So he was helping you pack.
Helping, exactly.
And putting the things in the hatchback.
Mm-hmm.
And then what happened?
Then, on top of everything else, he put my stereo, my speakers, and he was trying to close the back, and he was doing like over and over, and he did it really hard, and the window broke. It was just a mess.
So that's the property damage that you're complaining of?
Yes.
Because there was glass all over your clothes, and it shattered, and whatever. Okay.
And paints, my paints were back there, I just dumped them out, and they were on my good suits and everything, and so that's what happened to my suits.
Well,
what paint and
where was the
glitter
paint
and stuff
from?
Stuck. Well, I'm an artist, and I had some paints and things, for arts and crafts.
Oh, so he
took and dumped them on top of my clothes, right?
Okay.
And then the speakers and the stereo went on top of that.
You have photographs of the car and an estimate for the damage, so I can take a look?
I have receipts. I don't really have photographs.
You have receipts for the hatchback window? Mm-hmm. That's what I want to see. Now, what about this camera?
The camera that had gone, it went flying out of the box and went for a tumble on the street.
Okay. How much did you pay for it?
It was about $600.
You have a bill?
No, I couldn't find that receipt.
All right, Mr. Tierno, let me hear your version of the events, sir.
You want to hear the whole sordid story from the beginning?
No, I don't want to hear the whole sordid story. If I wanted to hear, I'm speaking. Listen to me. You asked me a question. At least give me the courtesy of permitting me to answer your question.
Okay.
I do not wish to hear the whole sordid story of your relationship. I wish to hear what happened on the 22nd of August when you came home and found her packing.
I came home from work. She was packing boxes. She said, I'm packing my stuff and moving. It's not working out between the two of us. This just came out of left field. I asked her what she was doing, and she said that she was
leaving.
moving out. So I helped her. I started helping her.
Tell me how you did that.
What's that?
Tell me how you helped
throwing stuff around.
Shh. Interrupt him.
I grabbed the boxes that were packed already, and I put them in her car.
What happened to her window?
What happened to her window? When I felt that the car was full, I went to shut the back window, and after shutting it, or after trying to shut it a couple times, I gave it one good one, and it just broke. The window broke. I didn't do it intentionally, ma'am.
No, it was negligent. Either it's intentional or it's an accident. An accident usually is a result, happens as a result of negligence. She didn't break the window.
No, she didn't, ma'am.
So who should pay for the window?
Well, how about the things that she broke of mine, personal property that...
Shh. Please, Ms. Collins, I don't have a counterclaim, Mr. Tierno, so let's not get into what things she broke of yours. What I want to know is, who do you think should pay for the window? Let us assume that I accept your version of the events, that you come home from work, you find her packing. You had no clue that she was going to leave.
Right.
But you very calmly decided to help her pack. And you were packing and putting boxes. I'm speaking.
Oh, excuse me.
According to, this is what you just told me.
Right.
You were packing, and you put the boxes in the car, and then you tried to close the hatchback at the time when you felt as if the car was full. You tried it a couple of times, and then you finally gave it one good one, because those were your words. Wasn't that his word? One good one.
One good one.
And the window shattered. So my question to you is, who should pay for the window?
Really shattered,
her,
cracked, but...
her, or you?
Well, in an argument between a man and a woman, and we got into an argument, and she was throwing things at me, breaking stuff, you know, of mine, okay?
You mean on that day, August 22nd?
Yeah, we got into an argument.
Oh, well, you didn't tell me that, Mr. Tierno.
Okay, well, maybe
Mr. Tierno, what you told me, sir, was you were helping her pack because she wasn't working out. She wanted to leave. You didn't say anything about an argument, sir.
Okay.
So now you had an argument.
Yeah, we had an argument.
Oh, that's a different story. So when you...
I thought you would realize that, you know, I come home and my girl is packing up her stuff, and yeah, it was kind of...
Oh, no, sir. She said you had an argument. You just said that you came home and you were helping her move her boxes in the car. So there was an argument.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Did you break any of his property?
No, I did not break any of his property.
She did break stuff of mine.
What did I supposedly do?
Shh. Quiet.
And later today,
Car just lost control.
He grabbed the steering wheel. He didn't just grab it and like make it move and make me lose control of the car. He grabbed it, pulled it down right here, and held it.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Carlene Collins says ex-boyfriend Bobby Tierno destroyed her belongings after they broke up.
What are the receipts you have?
The other receipts I have are for the suit, my good work suits, and my art supplies that got smashed underneath the stereo when it got thrown in there, and paint everywhere and stuff. And then after that...
Did you break any of his property?
No, I did not break any of his property.
Okay, just asking you. I don't have a counterclaim, so I'm just asking
I didn't throw anything.
Whether it's a counterclaim or not, I mean, the truth is she did break stuff of mine.
Well, I don't have a counterclaim, sir.
What did I supposedly do?
Shh. Quiet. Now, what suit are you talking about? Which suit is this?
There was a few. I don't have them all. I just have like one of my good ones.
Listen to me. What suit is that? That's the suit that's there. Because I have a bill.
This one, actually, this one I didn't have a receipt for.
Ms. Collins, why would you save this suit for which you don't have a receipt and not bring the suit for which you do have a receipt?
Well, because I thought that I could somehow save this one. There's the skirt doesn't have anything on it. You know, the other ones were just it wasn't even worth saving. They were just
You should see my apartment when she was painting all over the place on my furniture.
Listen to me. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to
to
hear from you now. I'm asking her a question. This is not a bad thing that I'm asking her questions.
When I decided to file a claim and sue for that, I had already tossed the stuff.
All right. He absolutely owes you for...
Now, there was some time... He
absolutely owes you for a new hatchback glass for your car.
Why?
Why? Because you broke it, sir. That's why.
Now, he was calling
Why? Because you broke it.
Well, how about the stuff that she ruined of mine? How about the rent?
Sue her. Just a minute. Sue her.
I understand.
Do you understand? She has the right
Well, Your
to
Honor,
sue you, which she has
I could talk some sense to
which
you.
she has done. She sued you for breaking the hatchback of her car, which you acknowledge that you did.
And the time off of work.
Judgment for the plaintiff. The car cost you
Yeah, the
$2,094.45. Thank you very much. That's all.
What about...
That's it.
Where's our excuse? Let's step out.
He knew what he did. You know what? I guess he just thought that he just wasn't going to have to pay for anything.
When we get in a fight, she'd throw things, and she'd knock over a little knick-knack on the table or a lamp.
I don't break things.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of White versus Atkinson. Step forward, please.
Babysitter Jackie White is suing her granddaughter, 20-year-old nurse's assistant Melissa Atkinson, for an unpaid loan to bail her father out of jail.
Miss Atkinson, how old are you?
20.
This is your grandma?
Yep.
Who do you live with now?
Me and my fiance and my daughter.
How old is your daughter?
8 months.
When you were growing up, who did you live with?
My mother.
Only your mother?
Yep.
What about your father?
Non-existent.
That's her son, is that right? Did you have any sort of relationship with your grandmother?
Yep. Somewhat.
As you were growing up, you saw her?
Yep.
Try yes, it sounds
Yes.
nicer. It's a courtroom. How frequently did you see your grandmother as you were growing up?
More when I was younger than now.
And you saw her despite the fact that you had no relationship with your father. He wasn't around.
He was around, but not often.
Shh, put your hand down. So she was around more than your dad?
Yep. Yes.
When you say she was around more than your dad, she would come to visit you, or you would go and spend time with her even though her son wasn't around?
Yes.
So you would say that during the time you were little, and even a little older, she was a reasonable grandparent?
Yes.
Now I'm going to get to the case. Ms. White, you're suing your granddaughter because you claim that there was a time, some time ago, recently, that your son was in jail, was incarcerated, and needed bail money. He called you. You had most of the bail money that he needed. Whatever you had was about $470. $400 for bail and $70 for some fee. You spoke to your granddaughter. Granddaughter managed to get together another $100. You posted $500 bail for your son. Sometime later, he appeared in court. The bail was returned, but it was returned to your granddaughter, and your granddaughter did not give you back your money. Granddaughter says that you never gave her a dime. Okay? That's what the case is about.
Right.
Which is the reason that I was asking you a whole bunch of questions, Ms. Atkinson, because I didn't know what kind of relationship you had with your grandmother. And I don't know why your grandmother would sue you anyway, even if what she says is true, because that's sort of something that family doesn't do, especially for not life-altering amounts of money. So you're going to explain that too to me, Ms. White.
I had to borrow the money from my sister. She wired it up Western Union for me to get the bail money. And then I had to pay her back. And I was expecting to get my money back from Melissa when this bond was paid back.
When did your son call you?
April 27th. I've got a phone number here where I called my sister on the 28th. She wired the money up the 28th.
When was your son incarcerated?
27th.
For what?
I've got a record here. You'll have to look at this.
Can I see it, please? Domestic abuse. Who was he living with?
His girlfriend.
So she was the complainant in the case?
Probably, yes.
Okay, so you got the money, and you got about $400.
Melissa put in 100.
Okay, and when did you call her?
I called her that day to go with me, ask her if she had any money to help me pay the bill. She said she'd get up 100. I told her I had 400 coming.
And that's what the bail was, 500.
Yes, she went with me to pick up the money from the Western Union. She was with me when I picked it up. We proceeded to the jailhouse. I let her put it in her name. It's my granddaughter. I don't think she's going to try and get the money, keep the money from me. The day he got out, the day this was all dismissed, I called her up, told her she'd go down and pick up the money. According to her, she didn't have a driver's license. She needed $700 and something for a license. I said, I can't do that. Get your mass ID. I can't do that, she says. So that was it. I never did see the money. That was the end of it.
Okay, go ahead.
All I have to say is if it was all of her money, like she claims, first it's so many different amounts. First it's $470. Now it's $400.
No, she
and
never
early
said it.
on it was $350.
Oh, you tell me what? You tell me your version of the story.
I'm just telling you that if it was all her money, that day I got called out of work to come and get $500 up.
Tell me what happened.
I got called out of work to get $500 up.
By
to
whom?
get my father, by her, for my father, to get bailed out of jail. So I got called out of work, had to come home, find money, spend the whole day waiting for a bail bondsman, and then of course it's my money, I'm going to put my name down. so I can get my
Where
money
did you
back.
get the money from?
I had some cash saved over from my daughter's savings bonds.
Run that by me again.
They give me money to get savings bonds for my daughter.
Who does?
His family, my fiance's family. So I had that in a drawer.
How much did you have?
500.
I don't believe you.
Okay.
Why would I have Western Union?
I don't believe you.
That's fine.
I know it's fine. But don't you feel ridiculous coming up and telling a bald-faced lie?
No, I'm not.
Oh, yes, you are. I mean, it's a bald-faced lie, and it sounds so stupid.
Well, if it was her money, why didn't she put it in her name? What was the whole point of that
That's not
anyway?
the issue. The issue is that family usually trusts each other. Family usually trusts each other. Do I think that you have $500 in cash sitting around because your fiancé's family over the course of 6 months or a year has given you money for your 8-month-old child that you just keep in a drawer?
Yeah.
And you have a job?
Yep.
What kind of job do you have?
Nursing assistant.
You get paid check or cash?
Cash.
Cash?
Yep.
Interesting. When was the last time you filed tax returns?
Last year.
Good. How much did you report on your tax returns?
$12,000.
So you have a checking account?
No.
Really?
Really?
You keep all the money that you make in cash in your house?
Most of it.
That's dumb.
It works. Might not work for you, but it works for me.
You have to see. Now, what I don't understand is why a 20-year-old girl who seems not to have really started her life out in an orderly fashion to begin with, by having an 8-month-old child, being unwed, having a job, no checking account, no savings account, I assume, why you would want to cut off a grandparent who had been perfectly reasonable to you during your growing up years. I have no idea. But if attitude could make you wealthy, you'd be a very wealthy woman. Attitude is not going to make you wealthy. Being an honest person will make you at least an honorable person. Never going to get there. Thick. Maybe it's your son's genes.
I hope not.
Well, maybe. Anyway, the $70 she doesn't owe you. She owes you $400 because the bail was $500. It may have cost you $70 to get the money from your sister, but all you put down was $400. I believe that you put down $400 in bail, and I believe she got that money back, and I believe she decided she needed it. You get it back. That's all. Judgment of the plaintiff, $400.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I don't make that kind of money. I had to pay this back.
I thought it went fine.
She was with me when I picked the money up, so she knows what belongs to me.
She got the money back that she wanted so bad, so there you go.
My favorite thing to get back to normal again.
No relationship at all with them.
Well, at least in my great-granddaughter.
She doesn't need that kind of person in her life.
Kaloyan Papianchev is suing fellow motorist Spencer Gilbert for car damage.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 2084, Papianchev versus Gilbert.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Papianchev, you were driving in your car, 2008 BMW.
That's correct.
And that was on the 14th of November of
That is correct.
last year. Tell me what time of the day this accident happened.
It was approximately 3:15 p.m.
So daylight hours.
Yes.
And tell me where you were going.
I was going eastbound on Sunset Boulevard in Beverly Hills. I was driving
Eastbound on
Sunset Boulevard in Beverly Hills. I was driving in the right, so-called slow lane when I tried to make a right turn.
Where?
It's a intersection. The name of the street is Palm Drive.
Is that intersection controlled by a light or stop sign?
No, there is no stop sign or a light.
At that intersection?
That is correct.
I assume somebody has a video or a photograph of that section that would demonstrate that there is no light. You do. Is there a light or a stop sign at that intersection?
No, Your Honor, there's not.
Did you put on your signal indicating a right turn?
Yes, I did.
How far from the corner?
I can't state distance, but it was approximately 5 seconds before I reached the intersection.
Was there traffic that day?
Yes.
A lot?
Very light. It was Sunday.
So far, Mr. Gilbert, is that correct, that there was light traffic on that day?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were traveling on a motor something called a Vespa, which is a small
scooter, yes, Your Honor.
but motorized.
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't know about these things, Does a Vespa have to be registered and have a license plate on it?
I do have
It's
a
yours.
license plate on the Reddit.
Okay, so your Vespa is registered as a motor vehicle, and you have a license plate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now tell me what happened, sir.
As I proceeded to make a right turn onto Palm Drive, I just heard an airflow. It was a big bang. It was an impact.
On your passenger side?
Yes, on my right passenger side. And I realized that there was a small motorcycle or a moped that hit my vehicle.
Hit your side. And you were the person riding that Vespa?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. May I see the damage to your car?
Yes.
Sarah Rose, get me the price of a 2008 BMW 7 Series.
Will do.
Thanks. What you're talking about is this damage, sir. Is that correct?
Yes, front passenger.
I see.
Yeah.
I've just made a circle. Can you see the circle that I've made?
Yes, that is correct.
Okay. And that is, Mr. Gilbert, where you hit him with your Vespa.
It's where he hit me with his car.
No, he can't hit you sideways, sir.
He sidestepped me.
He can't hit you sideways, sir. He can't slide into you. Now, whosever fault this was, I'll try to figure it out. But you hit him because this is the area of impact. Cars don't go sideways, they go front. You have pictures of your Vespa?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Your Honor, based on a 100,000-mile BMW 7 Series, between $4,700 and $7,800 is about the range.
I just want to know, because I have to see what this kind of day. He's suing for $10,000, which is ridiculous. That doesn't show me much, actually. Okay, so I can't see the front of your Vespa, sir. I assume that the front is the end that's damaged because I see the back.
Yeah, the front end was completely
just
collapsed.
A second. So the front of your Vespa was damaged because that's where you hit him with your Vespa.
No, you're
The
not.
back
That's
end
incorrect.
was not damaged, nor does it look like the sides are damaged. These are the pictures you gave me. The only thing I can't see is the front crushed end. Am I correct that I can't see the front crushed end? Okay.
Yes.
So now I'm telling you that based upon these photographs, yours and his, you hit his car. Okay. Now, that's the chart. Whose chart is that?
It's from the police report.
Great. Now, the police report doesn't show a bike lane there or any other lane. It shows that there's a car traveling in a car lane and the Vespa hitting. See, he can't hit. You can hit. He can't hit you. Now, tell me, sir, why is it that you were driving where you were? You were behind him initially.
No, Your Honor. I was traveling eastbound down Sunset, heading to work. He was right next to me. When we got to Palm, he turned into me, pushed me. I barely was able to keep control of my vehicle.
Is what you're telling me that your Vespa was never behind his? This you're not getting. I want you to get this right out of your mind. Your whole car isn't worth $10,000. Let's be serious. I don't have all day. Do you have a bill?
And later today.
And I know you're dying to tell me that there was noise there, that you couldn't live there, that it was terrible. Well, that's what happens when you live in a place with a whole bunch of other people.
Kaloyan Popyanchev claims fellow motorist Spencer Gilbert owes for car damage after hitting him with his Vespa.
Is what you're telling me that your Vespa was never behind his?
No, I was never
Okay.
behind his vehicle.
Do we have any other video?
I do have a dash camera video of the.
May I see it, please? Play it again, please. Start from the beginning. So let's go slowly. Okay. Well, it's clear to me, Mr. Gilbert, that you came up behind him. Just go back a little bit. You weren't right next to him because...
I was next to him because as he slows down to make his turn, that's when he makes contact with me. I was right next to him the entire time.
Impossible. May I see the police report, please?
Yes. There's actually 2 police reports.
May I see them? Was anybody given a summons on that day? Nobody. Neither party was given a summons. Is that correct?
Not that I know of, Your Honor.
Okay, so this is the narrative after witnesses were questioned, and the opinion based upon the witnesses' testimony and yours, and the fact that the police officer actually heard in the video the clicking of the turn signal indicating a right turn approximately 5 seconds before the right turn was executed according to the police officer as a result of viewing the cam that he had, the video, that he was making a slow right turn. He had turned on his signal approximately 5 seconds before, and you were coming up on him on your right. And it says, based upon the video footage, I determined that the first car, and that would be his, should not have been placed at fault for this collision because he activated his turn signal and made a safe turn to go southbound on Park Drive. The fault of the collision is on the part of Mr. Gilbert for violating 21755 CVC, which states in part that the driver of a vehicle may overtake and pass another vehicle on the right only under conditions permitting that movement safely. I'm reading you the police report. Do you have another police report?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Prior to this or after this one?
This is the only police report that I know of.
Oh.
I wasn't aware there was 2.
Well, this was a supplementary police report. What is the date of yours?
All I have is what my lawyers gave me.
Oh, well, I'm going to show you this one, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
And this one was after viewing the cam.
Yes, Your Honor, my police report predates his.
Predates it. Well, that's after the officers looked at the dash cam, heard the signal, and saw you coming up from behind. I'll take it back now. I've seen the damage on your car, sir.
Yes.
Which, while I wouldn't like to have it on my car that's 14 years old, it is on your car. It's not worth $10,000. Your whole car isn't worth $10,000, sir. So if you want to show me a reasonable estimate for fixing that, I'll be more than happy to look at it.
Yes, I do. And this estimate was given to me by the only body shop that is authorized by BMW.
Well, find another body shop for a 14-year-old car. I'm certainly not going to consider giving you anything near the value of your total car for something that is on the door of one side of the car. Have you had the car fixed, sir?
I had the entire door replaced, but it's still...
Replaced by whom?
By a body shop.
Good.
Yeah.
And if you had the whole door replaced, you must have a bill. This you're not getting. I want you to get this right out of your mind. Your whole car isn't worth $10,000. Let's be serious. I don't have all day. Do you have a bill for the door that you replaced from a body shop, which is what I said a moment ago?
No, I do not have it with me. The vehicle is still due paint and dents and scratches repaired.
Well, they're going to fix the car, and if they can fix the car for $2,000, have it fixed. That's my judgment. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're finished.
This court is adjourned.
Certainly not happy about it.
I am happy. It is something.
The problems that this gentleman's caused my life.
It happened in about 2 seconds.
I was like riding right next to the dude, and he just turned into me, and I went into the wall, and that was pretty much it.
I had to call 911 immediately because I wasn't sure if he's dead.
Because of what he did, I wasn't able to go to work for 2 weeks. I lost 2 of my jobs.
First thing to do is you call 911 and then deal with, the rest of the circumstances.
One theme that we see far too often is plaintiffs coming here or to any court asking for a large sum of money, in this case $10,000 for a car that wasn't even worth $6,000. And instead of showing us an estimate of fairy tale land of what was going to fix it, show me a receipt for what you paid to fix the damage.
Yeah, he did fix the damage.
He fixed the damage already, replaced the whole door. You don't have a receipt for that. You don't have a bill. You don't have a nothing, which leads me to believe that it was a lot less expensive than $10,000. So I thought your judgment was generous, given that he had no proof. I would have said goodbye.
Well, he did damage the car. Not that I'm going into history, but as one who has, on occasion, hit a stationary object, even allegedly hit a stationary object, and get a little nick on a bumper on a car. It's expensive to fix a car. So he had a car that looked and perfect condition. It wasn't after it was hit. He's entitled to have it look like what it looked like before.
I just felt there was sort of a bait and switch with the $10,000 estimate, but I already got it replaced.
Fixed. I think that he said that. I think that he said that unintentionally.
I also think he did.
It's okay.
Giovanni Costello is suing his former friend, Jacob Knapp, for dental and medical bills.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Case 2110, Costello versus Knapp.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Costello, you and Mr. Knapp were out drinking in the park.
Yes.
Date and time.
The date and time was around 3 a.m. and it was on 9/11 of 2021.
And you've known Mr. Knapp for how long?
Roughly 9 years. We started off playing high school baseball.
And when had you first met up on September 11th?
I can't remember the exact time. I would say around maybe 7 p.m.
Where?
At a bar over in Old Town Pasadena. We weren't meeting up.
Just a second.
Yeah.
So you were in a bar in Pasadena, 7 p.m. Just the two of you, or were there more people?
No.
How many were there in the whole group?
I had around 5 or 6 people in my group, and we went
All
to a
friends?
Bar. Yeah.
And you?
He wasn't a part of that group.
But you were at the bar?
No, ma'am. I was at work when he contacted me.
Okay, so you were at the bar starting at 7 with your friends. He wasn't there.
Yeah.
Okay, what time did he join you?
It wasn't, I couldn't tell you the exact time.
Approximately.
About an hour later.
At the bar?
Yeah, but it wasn't a text or anything like that. He just happened to go to the same bar.
No, ma'am. What ended up happening from the start, I was at work. He contacted me via text. I don't
Do you have that text?
No, ma'am. I tried to erase the whole memory from my mind, so I deleted all the pictures and all the text messages.
Oh, well, that's
from that.
unfortunate.
Yes.
That's unfortunate. I've never done that, by the way. Wanted to erase something from my mind, so I didn't just say I'm not going to think about it anymore. I've never done that. Did you ever do that, Sarah?
I have not.
You have not? And she's pretty efficient with text messages. Did you ever do that?
Never have I done that.
No. Well, you must be unusual, sir. Okay, so you met at the bar. What time did you get there?
Well, my shift ended at around 9 o'clock.
What time did you get to the bar?
10 o'clock.
And when you got to the bar, you met Mr. Costello.
Yes, ma'am.
He had a few friends with him. How long did you stay at the bar?
We were there till 12.
Okay, so Mr. Costello, you had been drinking from 7 until about 12.
Correct.
The answer is yes. Yes, of course. And what's your drink of choice, sir?
Beer.
What else?
The first bar that we were at doesn't serve hard alcohol, so it was just beer there.
Okay, so from 7 to when were you at the first bar?
Yeah.
From 7 to when?
7 to when? Till 12.
12.
Yeah.
So it's 7 to 12.
At the same time as well.
Okay, so from 7 to 12 you were drinking beer.
Yeah.
And then where did you go at 12 o'clock?
After 12 o'clock, we ended up going to another bar in Arcadia.
Okay, and you stayed there from when to when?
From 12 to closing, which is 2 a.m.
And you were part of that group?
Yes, that's when I initially met the group.
At the second bar or
at the
first?
second bar, yes.
Not at the first bar?
No, ma'am.
Okay, so you got to the second bar, you were there you said you were there at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
So they weren't there when you arrived?
They were there when I arrived, yes.
Well, he said that, I thought he said he got to the second bar at 12 o'clock.
I arrived at the bar at around 10 o'clock, ma'am.
And you got there at 12 o'clock?
Yeah.
Yeah. So by the time you all got together and left the bar, you had all been drinking, you for a very long time and you for a shorter time.
Yes, ma'am.
So from 10 to 2, so 4 hours. And what's your drink of choice?
10 to 12, Your Honor. I apologize. 10 to 12.
Where did you go at 12 o'clock?
12 o'clock is when we had all decided to go to a park, kind of a low-key area.
No, he said that he went to a bar between 7 and 12. Am I correct, Whitney? Did he say?
12.
He said you were at the bar, first bar, between 7 and 12, drinking beer. That's what you said.
Correct.
You said the first bar only served beer.
Mm-hmm.
Is not an answer.
Yes,
Yes is an
it
answer. You say at 12 o'clock you went to a second bar where you had alcohol between 12 and 2.
Yes. Correct.
Yes?
Correct.
You got to a bar at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
Which one? The beer bar or the alcohol bar?
I finished my shift, like I said, at 9, and I showed up at the bar at 10 to meet up with them, to try to rekindle an old friendship.
Okay. Yeah. I actually don't care about that. All right, so partially you got your story straight, partially not. Anyway, you were two drunks Now it's after 2 o'clock, and you decide to go to a park. How many people went to a park, and what park?
It was the same amount of people that I was with from the start.
And you were along at the park?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it was.
Okay, did you take any beers to the park, or you went without them? You took beers to the park. The answer is yes.
Yeah, the main reasoning of going to the park was after the bar had closed. Jacob mentioned to the group that he had beers with him. So that incited us to go to the park and have some beers.
To continue drinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, prior to me showing up, I did stop by 7-Eleven and pick
Okay, so you had beers with you, and you were at the bar.
Yes.
Nice, very good. Now you get to the park, you're drinking beers. Now you're going to describe what you say is the assault that you suffered at the hands of Mr. Knapp. Now, I want you to know my feeling before you tell me the story.
Okay.
I usually don't get myself overly exercised about what drunks do in a park. Do you understand?
Mm-hmm.
I know that you may be all exercised about it, although I'm not exactly sure you're all exercised about it. So if you really are, I'm going to listen to you. If you're not,
yeah,
we just eliminate this case. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
If he just simply tossed me a beer, I don't understand how a beer can could chip my tooth the way that it
Just
did.
a second. I can eat a biscotti and it can chip my tooth. Biscotti, that's a cookie and a half. I mean, I could chip my tooth on my grandmother's steak. It was so hard.
Giovanni Costello claims his former friend, Jacob Knapp, owes for dental bills after being hit in the mouth with a beer can.
Okay, go. You're in the park, drunk. He's in the park, drunk.
Yes.
And
To state I was not drunk because I was driving my witness here.
I
my
want to
friend
tell you
Maureen.
something. If you were drinking
Yeah.
from 7 to 2, you were drunk.
I hadn't been drinking the whole time that I was
Let's
there.
go. Let's go.
Okay. So going into it, I was sitting at a park bench with Maureen here. And then I had another 2 friends that were on the other side. And we're hanging out. They had the 2 across from me got up. They went further into the park, and I was sitting with just her alone. And I was just about to show her a video off my phone. Next thing I know, I get hit in the face by a beer. After that occurs, I reach to my mouth to see something's wrong there. And I feel that like a part of my tooth is missing.
Okay, and that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
That's the assault that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And you allege that Mr. Knapp was the one who threw the beer bottle.
Yes.
Okay.
It was a full beer can.
A can.
Yeah, not bottle.
Did you report this incident to the police?
I did not take it to the police
Just a
because...
second, I'm just asking you.
Oh, sorry.
The answer is no.
No.
I disagree.
Disagree that he went to the police?
With his story.
Okay, I'll get there. Okay, so now you get hit in the face with a beer can, step by step. You look down, you look at your tooth.
Realize it's chipped. I say out loud, my tooth is chipped. She doesn't...
Don't tell me
believe it at
not
first.
that she. Just
Oh,
you.
Just me? I noticed it was chipped. And then after I announced that it was chipped, several of my friends, I guess, went towards him. And I
Well,
don't
you
know.
didn't tell me anything about him. You didn't tell me. You just said you got hit in the face with a beer can.
Yeah.
That's all you said to me.
And he was the only other person that was standing right there, besides her sitting
Just a
next to me.
So you didn't see him throw the beer can at you.
There was no one else there.
I'm just...
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I didn't see him throw it at me, but there was never a case of...
No, you didn't.
Of anything.
That's all.
Yeah.
You didn't see him throw it at you.
No.
Okay, go.
From the park, Your Honor?
Take it from
All
the
right.
park.
So
Now I got 2 drunks in the park, maybe 3.
there was actually more than just 3 of us surrounding the table.
Just a second.
Me and him.
Go slowly.
Okay, sorry.
Slower.
Let me take
I
it
don't
down a
know
notch.
table. I have no idea what you're talking about.
So, as he was saying, we were sitting at a park bench. I had brought the beer. The beer was next to me. He had asked me to toss him a beer. And that's plainly
Okay.
what I did was I underhanded him lightly a beer to him. And in his defense, he's saying he wasn't drunk, but it definitely was apparent that he was. When
And
you lightly
anybody who's been
toss a
drinking
beer,
from 7 to 2 in the morning is drunk.
Yes, ma'am. So I lightly tossed him a beer, and unfortunately it was dark enough to where he had missed, and the beer had hit him in the face, which after immediately I started to apologize to him, stating that I didn't mean to, but it was apparent he was looking at me and did not catch the beer. So personally, I think everything he said to you right now was...
That's your story. You tossed him a beer
Yeah.
because he asked you. He said, toss me a beer.
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was dark,
Yes.
and you were drunk, and he was drunk.
I wasn't drunk, Your Honor. I had 4 beers
No.
within the time of
No.
10 o'clock till
I'm not-
when this incident happened.
You know, I'm not real comfortable with that, sir.
Okay.
Because according to you, you had been drinking for 4 hours, And not only were you drinking for 4 hours, but you brought extra alcohol to have in the park. By the way,
Which was a container.
Where do you live? In what
In
city?
Pasadena, Your Honor.
In California. Are you allowed to drink alcohol in parks in California?
I'm not certain.
Well, let's find out. Open beer cans in city parks in California.
That's a no.
So after...
We're not talking yet.
I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Drinking alcoholic beverages is a prohibited activity in parks and park areas, according to the Pasadena City Park rules.
Thank you. This park that you went to, what's the name of it?
I'm not sure. It was up the street from the last bar we were at.
Okay. Now, did you, Mr. Costello, and the defendant, immediately after this event, did you communicate with him via text or email?
I texted him, I think it was roughly a couple of days later.
Okay. I'd like to see the text.
I have that.
That's all I want to see.
Don't
Don't say anything else.
Okay.
Just show me the texts that you sent him a couple of days later.
There it is.
Okay, thanks, Kevin. I'd like to see these texts from your phone, and I'd like to see all your text messages starting September 14th.
It's right here.
Of 2021. No, sir, you have to understand. What you said to me here, what you gave me, is 2 texts a year apart. I want to see the texts to him.
There was nothing.
After September 14th, you mean he didn't respond at all to this? I don't believe that.
My next thing that I did was I sent a letter through the mail, and I have that here, and I have proof of it where I had it so where he had to sign for it, and I have the receipt for it as well.
What date?
That one, I can pull it up right here.
I'm sorry, what letter? I never received a letter.
Just a second. So what you're telling me is that I'm supposed to believe that after you sent this email on September 14th, which is 3 days after the event, he never responded to you, and you never sent a follow-up email or text.
That was the letter. And in the letter I gave him...
Shh, just a second.
Okay.
Oh, here. Take this back. It's nonsense. I don't want to see something prepared for litigation, sir. You said you had a document that you sent to him that he had to sign for. If you sent him a letter, return receipt requested, then you have a return receipt requested with a signature on it. That's a document that you prepared 2 days ago.
I have the receipt in here.
Let's get it.
Okay.
I never signed such document.
Just don't shout out again.
Yes, ma'am.
It's annoying, and I'm annoyed enough with this case.
I'm sorry for being so unorganized.
Me too.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're so unorganized, too. Or disorganized.
Oh, here it is.
Great.
Certified mail. They're stuck to the back one.
This was sent April of 2022. I want to see what the response was. There had to be a response.
I never got a
since
response
September
from
14th, 2021. There had to be a response.
I never got a response from him.
Kevin, show this to Mr. Knapp and tell me if he recalls this text message.
Your Honor, no, I do not remember getting this text.
Why would you respond a year later? I know from the past, dealing with Mr. Knapp here, he tends to always, being friends, whenever get into an altercation or argument, he unfollows me, blocks me on everything. Okay. So there's a possibility by that text message not going through.
I don't deal in possibilities, sir.
I sent the text message, and I have proof of there. It was delivered, and I never got a response from him.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
Sir, this incident happened September 11th. You have to understand, I think that if that's what happened. I tend to believe that the defendant did not just willy-nilly take a can and fling it at your face. I want you to know that I don't believe that. You were stupid enough to throw the beer can in his direction. You're two drunks, that's what happens. So don't get so drunk and go to a park. How often?
Giovanni Costello has accused his former friend, Jacob Knapp, of hitting him with a beer can. Jacob says Giovanni asked him to throw it.
Okay, it is more likely than not that you were sitting with this lady who, according to you, you were supposed to drive home. That's what you said 5 minutes ago. So you were supposed to drive one, which means she was trashed, because that's what you said. You said, I wasn't...
This was the arrangements from the very beginning of the night.
Okay. Do you understand? So we had a whole bunch of trashed people. And I am more likely to believe the defendant when he says you said to him, toss me a beer, and it accidentally hit you in the face.
My questioning is that the...
I don't answer questions.
Okay, well, where the beer was placed on the table, I don't understand why I would have to ask him to toss me a beer when I can simply reach over and grab one myself.
I don't know either. But it sounds more likely to me than not that it was his beer, he brought it there, and you said to him, toss me a beer. And you failed to catch it. Now, that doesn't mean that the defendant isn't at least partially responsible for the stupidity of that night. But you have some responsibility, too, because I really don't believe that he left the bar. He was angry and frustrated over something that you had no idea what he was angry and frustrated over, because you were all sitting together. And he just, out of the blue, took a beer and threw it at your face. I don't believe that. Do you understand?
If I could show you a picture here, you could see that if he just simply tossed me a beer, I don't understand how a beer can could chip my tooth the way that it
Just
did.
a second. It can. It can.
Okay.
I can eat a biscotti and it can chip my tooth. Biscotti, that's a cookie, a very hard cookie. And have. And have. I mean, I could chip my tooth on my grandmother's steak, it was so hard. But certainly from a beer can. So I don't believe that you're blameless. What was your dental bill, sir?
I have the statements here.
While he's looking for that, you understand that if you were sitting there and instead of a bunch of beer cans and the plaintiff said to you, you know, that gun that's in your pocket, toss it over to me, I want to take a look at it. And you did. You took a gun out of your pocket and you tossed it over to him, and as you were tossing it over, it accidentally fired. Would it be his fault if he got shot?
No.
No. Whose fault would it be?
Mine.
Right. Because you weren't supposed to do that. Because it was potentially dangerous.
Of course.
Well, same thing with a knife or an explosive device.
Right.
Or something very hot, like toss me a cup of coffee in a container and it splatters. So you don't do what anybody asks you to do if it's not a smart thing to do.
Right.
Unless you're drunk. Unless you're drunk.
Your Honor,
then,
if I may.
Yeah.
Coming from a baseball background, such as me and Gio did,
I don't care about your baseball background. There's no question, sir, that you acknowledge you threw it at him. And I'm telling you that if your excuse is that he asked me to do it, so I followed the fool's directions. I'm telling you, he's going to pay part of his dental bill, because I think it was partially his responsibility. But if you acknowledge that you were stupid enough to throw the beer can in his direction, you have to be partially liable. You're two drunks, that's what happens. So don't get so drunk and go to a park. How old are you?
27.
27 is old. And you?
28, Your Honor.
28. You know, old enough not to be so stupid. You know, you can figure 17, 18-year-olds are so stupid. At age 28, you should be doing something constructive. I assume you work?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a chef.
And you?
I'm a lumberman, Your Honor.
Okay, so you're both gainfully employed, letting off a little steam. That's fine. But if there's a problem that develops because anybody is not operating on all cylinders because of alcohol, you have to take responsibility. What was the dental bill?
My dental bill came out to $2,342.
Can I see that, please, Kevin?
I have this here. I'll give you both.
Was any of this dental bill covered by insurance?
On the dental, no.
Okay. Anything else?
My wholeheartedly truth is I didn't ask him for a beer. I had no problems. I was avoiding him the whole night for the most part because from the past, Jacob has had a way worse drinking problem than I've ever gotten to. I went out that night solely to have a couple drinks, hang out with friends. The night went longer than expected.
Very nice. Judgment for the plaintiff for the amount of $1,171, which is half of your dental bill. You pay half. Don't get drunk. You're too old to get drunk. I don't believe that he maliciously threw this at you. I think that you asked for a beer, tossed it at you, and you missed. That was his stupidity and yours. We're done here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
This court is adjourned.
All I did was I underhand lightly tossed it over to him, and that's really what happened.
I did nothing wrong to deserve to get a a beer thrown in my face like a baseball.
Unfortunately, he chipped his tooth, and so it was unfortunate.
I said, hey, Jacob, look, like, you chipped my tooth. Like, look what you just did.
No more drinking in the parks, guys.
Not to do it again.
I think this situation is the exact reason cities like Pasadena have rules about drinking alcohol in parks, because like you always say, it's not an on purpose, it's an accident. But a lot of times there are certain things that can increase the probability of an accident happening. True. And I think drinking at 2 a.m. in a park probably is one of those things.
That's true. So so
Dean Miller is suing vehicle owner Robert Pena for damage after his 17-year-old son hit Dean's car.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 2076, Miller versus Pena.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Pena, is that your son?
Yes, it is.
The one who was driving the car?
Yes.
Okay, good. You stand up next to your father. Mr. Miller, is your claim that the defendant's son hit your car that was parked in a parking lot?
Yes, Your Honor.
And it was parked in the parking lot of a high school?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you work in that high school?
Yes.
As what?
I'm a teacher.
What do you teach?
I teach what's called on-site continuation. It's a continuation classroom for 10th through 12th grade students.
Do you go to that school?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. On what date did you park your car when you allege it was hit?
I was on March 8th, Your Honor.
You were in school that day.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, you should know that in reviewing this case, Mr. Miller, because he was not there when his car was hit.
Correct.
Correct? And so he alleges that it was you who hit his car and then left the scene. Your father said it was not you who hit his car, and there's no proof that it was you who hit his car. That's what your father said. Before you answer my questions, I'm going to tell you that Mr. Miller has a video that he says was taken by school cameras that were zoned onto the parking lot that demonstrates that you actually did hit his car and leave. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
So now we're going to go back to March 8th, and you're going to tell me what happened with Mr. Miller's car.
So I drive myself to school every day, or at the time I was driving myself to school because that was my only way of getting to school.
Did you have a driver's license?
At the time, no, I did not have a driver's
So you were driving a car without a driver's license?
Yes, Your Honor.
And what kind of a car were you driving?
It was a 1991 Camaro.
Where did you get the car from?
Me and my dad had gone off the street. It was a project car.
How old are you?
17.
Did you try to take a driving test?
Yes.
When?
Back when I had turned 17, actually, in February of last year.
And you didn't pass it?
No.
Did you take the written test?
No.
What did you take in February?
The practical test.
Just the practical test, the driving test?
Yes.
And you failed that?
Yes.
So despite the fact that you failed that, you drove the car, and your father knew that you were driving the car without a license? That's a yes or a no?
Yes.
Was there insurance on this car, Mr. Pena?
No, there wasn't.
So no insurance, no license. So far, not good parenting. You understand that, Mr. Pena?
Yes.
Great. Okay, so you drove yourself to school and?
There's a parking lot that all the students, teachers, anyone who goes to school, really, they can park
Yes, nobody suggests you were trespassing in a place you weren't supposed to be.
Yeah, so every morning I would park in...
Not everyone, look at me. That day, Mr. Miller's car.
Yes, Your Honor. That day, March 8th, I came to school as usual and I parked in my area, and then one of the on-school deputies that the school has, he pulled up right behind me as I parked, and he asked me for my information, he asked me for my name, my school ID.
I want to know what happened with Mr. Miller's car.
Oh, nothing happened with Mr. Miller's car.
So what you're telling me is that you did not hit Mr. Miller's car. Is that what you're telling me?
Yes, Your Honor.
What car were you driving that day?
1991 Camaro.
What color is it?
Red.
How long have you been going to that school?
It's my 4th year going.
How many other people drive a 1991 Camaro? Red. Nobody.
Nobody.
And so I'm going to watch this video. Sarah, do we have the video?
I have it. So, wait, you'll see it.
Okay. You had a truck.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. So there's no question you hit the truck. Do you want me to show you the video?
No, Your Honor.
Well, if you don't want to see the video, that's because you told me a lie.
Oh, yes, I'd like to see the video.
Absolutely. going to watch very carefully you pulling into a spot and the truck moved as you were pulling in. Have they shown you the video, Mr. Pena?
They showed me a different version of that video.
Well, I've just seen the version that I saw. Got it?
Yes, Your Honor.
You saw the truck move, did you?
Yes, it did.
When you were pulling in next to it?
Yes, I was.
When you were pulling in next to it? So that didn't happen because there was an earthquake. That happened because you hit the truck.
Yes, Your Honor.
Fine. Now we understand each other, Mr. Pena?
Yes.
Great. That's a yes. Okay. Can I see pictures of your truck, please, and the estimate to repair it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Have you seen the photographs?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Totally consistent, right? Okay. Mr. Miller, you're from California?
Yes, Your Honor.
Do you regularly teach today?
Yes.
So you had to take a day off.
Yes, I have a substitute today, yes.
How many days off are you allowed?
10 per year. I've accumulated quite a few because I don't take many days off.
You get paid for those days?
I get compensated because I have sick days or personal necessity days.
The reason I'm asking you these questions, Mr. Miller, because it's no question that you are entitled to have your car fixed. But that's, to me, even though that's all you're requesting, I think the fact that Mr. Pena allowed his son to drive a car without insurance and without a license, not only without a license, but knowing that his son took a driving test the month before and failed it, which means that he was not a good driver. Not a good enough driver to get a driver's license. And I have a lot of people in my family that don't drive well, that I don't like to be in the car with. But they all have driver's licenses because they managed to pass a driving test. So I know that you are only requesting the $1,524, but I'm actually awarding you $2,500.
Thank you.
And that's for the aggravation of, instead of Mr. Pena saying to you, I'm sorry, my son hit your car, because either his son lied to him.
Your Honor, can I say something?
Either his son lied to him, or his son told him the truth, but he lied to me. And he's the grown-up. He set an example for his son that said it's okay to break the law. Not only for you, because you take the car to school. Take the car to school, even though you failed. Take the car to school. It has no insurance. If you hit somebody in that car and you seriously injure them, that car has no insurance. Car has no insurance. He has nothing to lose. Car has no insurance, but the person who he hit, person whose property he may have destroyed, they have no recourse. You understand, sir? That's a bad parental example. You want to say something to me or not?
Yes, I do.
I don't care that you didn't like it. That's not, as a parent, the lesson you should be teaching. And whether or not you like the way the sheriff spoke to him, that is totally irrelevant to me.
Later.
I paid as much as I could supporting him. I wasn't getting paid.
Dean Miller claims vehicle owner Robert Pena owes for damage after his 17-year-old son hit Dean's car.
Go ahead.
My thing I didn't like was how he got approached.
I don't care whether you like it or not.
That's what I do.
I don't care whether you like it or not. Did your son come home from school that day and say, I hit somebody's car?
No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Nowhere.
And just a second. And when you asked him whether he hit somebody's car, what did he tell you? Just be careful.
He said, I think. He felt intimidated
just a second.
by
I think.
the sheriff and him.
I don't care that you didn't like it. That's not, as a parent, that's not, as a parent, the lesson you should be teaching. First of all, you allowed your son to violate the law. You allowed it. And then, I mean, I would certainly know whether I caused that much damage. He knew that that car moved. So either he lied to you or you lied to me. And whether or not you liked the way the school official spoke to him or the sheriff spoke to him, that is totally irrelevant to me. That shouldn't be the takeaway from this. The takeaway from this is you're supposed to follow the rules. The rules are meant for everybody, and that includes you and your kid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500. We're finished here.
This court is adjourned.
Police officer came behind me when I parked and accusing me that I'd hit someone.
The school deputy saw the video, knew the car, so he approached the student.
The person who I'd supposedly hit came out with a megaphone yelling at me.
There is no megaphone. So I don't know where that came from.
Telling me that I'd hit him. So I was kind of like freaking out. I didn't really know what to think.
If it happened to me, he could hit someone else. And
I didn't know I hit your car. Like, did I hit your car? Like, I didn't even know what to think. I could have sworn I did not.
This was fortunate that it was just a parked car in a parking lot.
It is time to get his license, yes, that's correct.
It's time to get the car fixed and just get some closure on this.
In our family, we would call that contact a love tap. And as someone who has had a few run-ins potentially with stationary objects, I will tell you...
Not potentially.
I will tell you, you know when you hit a stationary object, even if it's just a light little love tap. So I just thought it was outrageous that the defendants, father and son, they knew that there was a video and still took the position of, nope.
Well, his father's position was, I didn't like the way they spoke to my son, and therefore I'm not responsible. They shouldn't have spoken to him. I mean, he's 17 years old, but he looks like a man. He's taller than his father, you know.
You have to take responsibility.
But you have to take responsibility and not drive a car, especially. You failed a driving test. The most basic thing. I mean, you know, we have
I will
people...
say, I did pass on the first try, so...
Yes, but we have people in our family who actually did not.
Okay, yes.
And they
will
didn't
not be
drive...
named.
And they didn't drive a car.
Yeah.
Until they could pass a driving
and
test.
And their parents were the first ones to say, no. No shot until you pass that test.
Absolutely.
So parents need to be responsible.
খাওয়া দাওয়া করে বেড়াইছি কালারের কথা একদম নেই
Big piece. Oh.